Welcome to Horror Boys. It's a podcast on the internet. I'm Austin, joined as always by
Chris.
And joined by our special guest for the day, the OG Horror Boy himself, the one, the only
Isaiah.
Yeah, you say your name. You always say your own name. It's been that way since day one. That hasn't changed.
It's been like
yeah. Isaiah, being back ruins everything, ruins the flow of my intro. We're not just any podcast on the internet. No, my friends. We're a horror movie review podcast where every week we review a horror movie. And right now, we're doing a special thing. It's a thing called Bois Choice. Specifically, Bois Choice 2. What is it? Crap, I forgot my own joke.
Wow, I'm disappointed.
Bois Choice 2...
Freddy's
Nightmare?
Nightmare.
No. What is it?
Freddy's Revenge.
Is it Freddy's Revenge?
I think so.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. Screwing up my
All
own
I
bit.
know is it wasn't Electric Boogaloo.
Well, no, because it's not horror.
We're right.
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo is not a horror movie. It's a breakdancing movie.
Oh, it's a breakdancing movie?
Yes.
I thought that was just a thing people said.
No, it comes
That
from...
makes a lot more
originated
sense.
somewhere. Yeah.
This is the point of the podcast where Austin educates his fellow hosts.
Gross. I didn't come here to learn. I came here to talk about stupid movie.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
That's
This
harsh.
movie isn't stupid.
Wow.
Spoiler.
Get into the review and opinion section.
We're jumping straight to the end, guys. I'll be honest. We killed enough time in that intro. So here's my final thought. I forgot to tell you that, Isaiah. We do a 10-minute podcast now.
Yeah. It has been shortened for YouTube.
Yeah. For that YouTube algorithm.
Big preferences. Yeah.
We say as we're lengthening this podcast because we are still in the intro.
Yeah,
as I said, though, this is
vamping.
Bois Choice 2 Electric Boogaloo. And that means that we are covering one of the boys' choices. I went first with Mayhem. Chris went second with Creep, which means it's Isaiah's turn. So tell him what movie we're watching, Isaiah.
Wait, how is this Bois Choice 2 from the third one?
Well, because we did Boys Choice last year.
Oh, the second annual Bois
Yeah,
Choice.
Boys Choice
Yeah.
is once a year.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are covering Delirium 2018,
Oh.
though a lot of it feels much earlier since it's about a guy who gets out of the joint after like 20 years.
I'm also going
So-
to, real quick, keep talking, because somehow now you're too quiet, so I'm turning you back up a little bit.
Classic.
Yeah. Delirium starring Topher
Grace.
Yes?
Grace. Yeah. I'll save like the opinions specific to the movie till the end, but I have not seen anything. I've not seen a better movie or show starring Topher Grace.
How
Like-
dare
Not a fan
you
of the
disrespect
That 70s show?
Spider-Man 3? I will not
I like
accept
Spider-Man
this.
3.
Why?
He's good in Spider-Man 3.
Is he?
He is what he should be
Okay.
in Spider-Man 3, but he is much better.
Sure.
Actually, I'd argue,
Yeah.
I mean, this is not the Spider-Man 3 podcast, but I'm going to pause you right there and say you're wrong. He is not at all who he's supposed to be, because he's supposed to be Eddie Brock, and Topher Grace is no Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Eddie Brock's supposed to be like a big bad burly
Jacked
dude.
football dude, and then they got Topher Grace in there in that role, and it did not work. He should have never have played Venom. Nothing against Topher, just he was not cast in the right spot for that movie.
I never read the comics, so
It
I just came to the movie
shows.
blind. My ignorance of the comics is just being laid bare.
I mean, I don't know how to read.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not entirely not true. But also, I want to pause real quick. Once again, just doing lots of pauses here. We're going to eventually get to the movie. Don't you worry, guys. He said it was Delirium 2018, but it's not the only Delirium 2018. There's two!
Wait, I thought the other one was a show.
No, it was like rated TVMA, but it was a movie. It was a feature-length movie by like one of the worst studios out there. They made Thanksgiving, Gravitas Features. Shouts out to Gravitas. I almost watched that movie, was really angry with you when I saw that Gravitas logo pop up. I was like, seriously? His choice was this crappy B movie? And then thankfully I did a little bit of research on my phone and stumbled into realizing that there were two Delirium 2018s, and I almost
Yeah,
watched
and
the
there's
wrong
like,
Yeah,
well,
luckily
there's like
for me,
8 Deliriums.
there's
I had
way too
already
many
watched
Deliriums.
this Delirium, and so when Isaiah said it's Delirium, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's a movie that I watched.
Yeah.
Well,
Right now, it's a neutral movie.
yeah.
What
Just
are
like-
our
like
thoughts
no
on this
opinions.
movie? You won't know till the end of the podcast, or probably about like 2 pages into my notes. Maybe is when I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the
We have a
pre-notes so we can
format.
get to the movie. That is the intro done. Time to move on to pre-notes. Woo! Thanks for being back, Isaiah. I miss doing 3-hour podcasts. Not. Our director for this movie is Dennis, I believe, Iliadis. I'll be honest, I don't know because it's a capital. I think it's a capital I, then an L. So it's that really weird, confusing thing where it looks like 2 capital I's or 2 lowercase L's. I'm pretty sure his name is Dennis Iliadis. And he directed Last House on the Left, 2009, alongside Horror Boy alum Tony Goldwyn of Friday the 13th, Part 6. They were in Last House on the Left. Then we got our writer, Adam Aleka of Last House on the Left, 2009.
Oh, we got a string here connecting people.
What?
I'm seeing.
Well, don't worry, it's gone on the next one. Because our composer is Nathan Whitehead of The Purge Anarchy, and The Purge Election Year.
That does not surprise me at all.
I
have opinions about that.
Well, The Purge Election Year does also star Horror Boy alum Mike Kelty Williamson of The Final Destination, which is the 4th of 5 movies. If you are not a Final Destination fan and that name The Final Destination confused you.
Yeah. It is. It's not the first one.
No, it's not the first one, and it's not the
And
last
it's not
one.
the last one.
It is the one.
It is.
It is one of.
It is the one. Yes. Then we have our director of photography, Mihai Malamer Jr. of Jojo Rabbit. Our special makeup effects designer is Gary J. Tunnicliffe of The Collector, The Collection, Hellraiser 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Pumpkinhead 4, Halloween 5, Halloween Resurrection, Ginger Snaps, Blade, Candyman 1 and 3, and is a Horror Boy alum for Wishmaster and Scriform.
Wow. Just had a little bit of work, really.
And just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
And I did go back to do some research. I don't know. I mean, I might have done it when the makeup effects show up, but that was pre-putting the makeup effect people in the pre-notes. So I might have told you all that when, they were in Scriform, but it wasn't in the beginning of the video, so maybe I told it all to you guys again.
Possibly.
Quite possibly. Our stunt coordinator is Trampus Thompson of Sinister and Don't Let Go, alongside Horror Boy alum Mike Kelty Williamson of The Final Destination. Which, fun fact, if for people who I like bringing it up because it's definitely Mike Kelty Williamson's actual biggest role not being in The Final Destination. He played Bubba in The Forrest Gump.
Oh,
yeah.
heck yeah.
Then our stunt co-coordinator is John Dixon. Our visual effects supervisor is Janice. Nope. I'm going to try that one more time. I'm not going to edit it out, but I'm going to try it one more time. The supervisor for the visual effects was Jameson Goey?
Anderson.
It's Goei. It's a lot of vowels there, so I don't know how to pronounce that last name.
Goe?
Goei? We'll go with Goei. I like that. Well, Jameson worked on Hellraisers 5 through 8, Halloween Resurrection, Last House on the Left 2009, Maniac 12, not Maniac from 2012, not the 12th There's only 2 Maniacs. There's an original and a remake. The Purge election year, Truth or Dare, Don't Let Go, Cursed, and is a Horror Boy alum for Scriform and Wishmaster. Woo!
Wow.
And now it is time to tell you about what happened in the movie.
Yippee! The movie.
Woo!
Yes.
Finally there.
You know what? We had a fun intro, and then we have to get through pre-notes.
Dig in the intro.
Yeah, I gotta give every one of those people credit for who they are. Even if I can't pronounce their name and I butcher it, I have to give them credit.
Never would have known about Bubba if I had not come on this podcast.
That's true. You would have never known that those people
will...
worked with a guy who was in a different Horror Boy movie.
Yeah. It's eventually you're gonna be like really good at playing the 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
You really
game.
will.
Yes, yeah.
Which the answer is, we are 1 degree from Kevin Bacon because we did cover a movie he was in.
True.
He is a Horror Boy alum, meaning that we are 1 degree of separation from him.
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. I said it and we'll go with it.
In exclusively our circle.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But if we go off of traditional circles, I'm actually 2 degrees away from him because I had a cameo in what's the stupid movie called? Adam Sandler,
51st Dates.
51st Dates. And by cameo, I mean I'm in a crowd shot and you can't tell I'm there.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. I was there the day they filmed this scene. And
he was technically an extra.
Yeah, and I don't remember my connections, but I went on like the website to like kind of figure it out. Drew Barrymore is like 1 degree away from him, which means I'm 2 degrees because I was in a movie with Drew Barrymore.
Like this.
Yeah, so me and Kevin Bacon. Forget this podcast. I actually am 2 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, which means you guys are only 3.
Dude, you can't make. I'm basking in the 3rd degree of separation from Kevin Bacon.
I'm basking in 3rd degree burns.
So I'm gonna start the actual movie now because we still haven't.
Probably be good for us.
We open with our title card. We then cut to Tom in therapy with his therapist. Tom is played by Topher Grace, as we mentioned earlier, of That 70s Show, Spider-Man 3, and Predators, alongside Horror Boy alums Lawrence Fishburne of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, makeup artist Kerry Jones of The Final Destination, and Derek Mears of Hatchet 3 and Friday the 13th, 2009. His therapist is played by Harry Groener of How I Met Your Mother and played Mayor Richard Wilkins, who was the main villain of Season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
I won't tell you
and
more.
Also, what an unfortunate name.
Oh, Harry Groener?
Yeah.
I mean, I could be pronouncing his last name wrong. It is Groener. So I think it's Groener.
Yeah.
It might be Groener, which isn't much better, but it might be.
Yeah.
It might even be Groiner, spelled really weird, which that's even worse. But he plays a really good character. The mayor is genuinely one of like the most fun villains in all of the Buffy franchise.
And he is absolutely a therapist.
And he is absolutely in the opening scene of this movie and nothing else. So let's talk about that scene a little bit real quick. Tom tells his therapist that his dad used to film the family every Sunday as we see some of that old footage. Which, you know what that means? It's time to tell you about more cast members. Woo! Cast dump in the beginning of the movie. Is this movie a teen horror movie? Because it feels like it right now.
Yeah.
Young Tom is played by Braden Fitzgerald. Young Alex is played by Cody Sullivan. His mother is played by Daisy McCracken of Halloween Resurrection, alongside Horror Boy alums Jamie Lee Curtis of Halloween, stuntman Brad Laurie of Final Destination 2, and Child's Play 2019. Ryan Merriman of Final Destination 3, Brent Chapman of Freddy vs. Jason, Kyle Labine of Freddy vs. Jason, and David James Lewis of Child's Play 2019. There's a lot of people in Halloween Resurrection.
This section, like, when they first show this really poorly edited VHS-like series of shots that are supposed to be like family movies, This is the second time I watched this movie. Like, I watched it last night in preparation for this, and I totally had forgotten about that. Which, it eventually, like, became one of a few things that just felt, like, kind of cheap about this movie that I never remembered because the story is so good. But, I mean, I don't know if y'all had thoughts about the VHS effect. It felt very Canva to me. Like, they just applied the VHS button.
I was very worried at this point because the description of this movie also talks about how, like, is he living in a haunted house? And then I see this, like, crappy VHS filter, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm watching knockoff Sinister. I don't even want to watch Sinister.
Yes, dude, yeah.
But, spoiler alert, that's not what this movie is.
Oh, it is not.
This is not knockoff Sinister.
Not what you
this is a knockoff.
think.
This is its own movie. It's weird, crazy. I know, right, guys?
This is its
Actually,
own
to be fair, it is
movie.
knockoff Delirium 2018, the one by Gravitas Ventures.
I don't think that this is the knockoff. I think that might be the knockoff of Delirium
Huh.
2018.
Well, I'm actually not done talking about our girl.
Characters?
Yeah, no, specifically Daisy McCracken, because I had that where I talk about the big horror movie she's in, but then also she is part of the Buffyverse, so I do have to talk about her episode. She also played Bethany in Season 2, Episode 4, Untouchable of Angel, where she played a girl with telekinetic powers that Angel had to protect from the hands of the evil law office, Wolfram and Hart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I have to bring it up every time, Chris. That's one of my things. I can't hear you, Isaiah, if you said something there.
Buffyverse. I've never heard.
That's a valid response, Isaiah. A valid response.
No,
Thank you.
No, it's not. People know it. People who care. It's fine if you don't.
I believe you.
But
I believe
it's what people call the Buffy and Angel because they're two shows, but they're in a connected universe. It's not a valid response, Chris. How dare you? I'll leave right now, and you won't have any notes for this podcast. You want that? I'll do it. If I'm gonna be
Chris just sitting there
disrespected like
sweating.
that. Yeah, if you want to disrespect me and my love for Buffy, it's one of the few things I got going for me. It's that I like a TV show. Please don't take that away from me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We also hear his dad's voice behind the camera, so I'll tell you who his dad is played by. It's Robin Thomas of Amityville Dollhouse, Halloween 1 and 2, where he plays Calabar, and Summer School alongside Horror Boy alums Dwayne Davis of Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Kelly Jo Minter of Nightmare on Elm Street 5. He was not in the Buffyverse, so we can move on now.
Okay, cool.
But he was in the Halloween Town universe, which means I do need to talk about Halloween Town now for like an hour.
No.
I want to.
No.
But Chris, we both like Halloween Town.
We already did a whole commentary on the
Yeah, but
entire
no one
series.
watched that. Actually, that's not true. Halloween Town was one of the only ones that got any views for some reason.
That's right. Go back and watch our Halloween Town.
Follow the
Horror
link.
Bois
It's
commentary.
not Horror Boys. Follow the link on this channel to our other channel where you can see a commentary track, which you still have to watch the movie yourself, but you can hear me and Chris make jokes about it and somewhat just enjoy the movie. That's a great plug. I'm a professional. The therapist asks Tom how he feels about his dad's passing. Tom says it was made easier by not seeing him in a while. The therapist asks, why do you think he stayed away? And Tom replies, you know why. My mom leaving him running for office, he was ashamed of me. It's just, he was a great man, and he expected a lot from his son. When they told me he killed himself, I think it's because I was getting released. Therapist says, no, wait, sorry. He says, no, you don't know that. Which I will say is I'm kind of bad therapist, not saying just no, saying you don't know that, implying that, like, leaving that little seed of, like, I mean, it could be, but we don't know that.
Are you really sure?
Yeah, he's like, I can't neither confirm nor deny that fact. So me as your therapist trying to talk you off this edge, I'm just going to say, I mean, it might have been. But it might have not been.
Probably wasn't.
Tom says, "You know, it's no wonder that he wound up hating me." The therapist responds, "You know, one day you're going to have to take him off the pedestal. Tom, you've come far, my friend. It's clear to me that he loved you, even if he didn't want to face you. He left you everything, gave you a second chance so you can start over, live your life, make up for lost time." He picks up a bottle of pills and walks over to Tom, saying, "Now just remember, rule your fear. Don't let it rule you. And when in doubt," Tom replies, "trust my brain, not my eyes."
I wonder if we'll hear that phrase ever again throughout the movie.
Like honestly, only like 2 more times.
He kind of paraphrases it. Yeah.
He says like the thought of it 3 times and says that exact phrase twice, which, you know, it doesn't sound, it's not that much actually, guys. Chris is overhyping this phrase.
Well, I mean, it's the only phrase that we hear again.
Yeah, it's kind of an important one.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
No, there's other phrases that are said a little bit later that get repeated. The point is, I'm still salty about the Buffyverse thing, okay? I'm not letting it go.
If you're gonna get salty about a phrase, I'm salty about his older brother's catchphrase that we'll get to.
We haven't got to that yet. Okay.
Yeah, we can talk.
We don't. His older brother might not even. His older brother's only in a video. Isaiah, gosh, spoiling things. I called him young Alex. That doesn't imply that there's an old Alex. Oh wait. Hold up. Wait a minute. Put a little love in it. Yeah, Family Force 5. Woo. That was for our random cross section of Christian millennials who listen to that song. Yeah. No, not youths. No one in currently a youth would know that song. It's people our age and older. Where was I?
Family Force 5.
That wasn't actually in the notes, Chris. The Family Force 5 was just a
off-the-cuff
statement.
Opportune.
No, I'm aware.
He gave him take him off the pedestal. The rule. No, trust your brain, not your eyes. The therapist hands him the bottle, saying, "There you go." He wishes him luck and sends him on his way to leave the mental hospital.
Yippee! He out the psych ward.
Yeah,
he did it. Let's go.
We cut to him.
Just like me. Just kidding. That's a joke. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
I missed whatever you said, and I'm okay with that. I'm hoping that I
said he's out the psych ward, just like me.
Oh,
I thought you said he killed it. And I thought that's kind of funny.
All right, so moving on.
Yeah.
We cut to him being driven home by his parole officer, Brody, to his mansion of a home. Brody is played by Patricia Clarkson of the 2002 TV movie adaptation of Carrie. There it is. I lost my place on my page. Wendigo, The Woods, The Green Mile, and Shutter Island, alongside Horror Boy alums Emily Mortimer of Scream 3 and Jackie Earle Haley of Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Some would say the best Nightmare on Elm Street. No one said that.
Some being me.
Yeah, I don't think you did, actually, if I remember. You were on those. You were still around then. You said you guys asked you to remember who she was in Scream 3?
I've seen Shutter Island and The Green Mile. I can't remember who she is in either of those.
Oh, I haven't seen either of those. I just went, there's Horror Boy alums in it. I'll talk about Shutter Island. I haven't seen it.
That's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Yeah, and he's going like crazy. Spoiler.
Yeah, just like real life.
Spoiler: there's no island. I think. I don't know.
It's really young.
Am I spoiling the movie? Probably, but have I seen it? No. I'm sorry for anyone else who hasn't seen it, but listen to this podcast hoping to not get spoilers for Shutter Island. I think I just gave you one from a video I watched years ago.
Oopsies.
Brody puts on his ankle monitor for his 30 days of house arrest. They walk around the house. They go to the pool with a retractable floor that covers the water when not in use. I wonder if that could be relevant later.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. They then head to the kitchen where Brody explains the phone that he will have to answer once or twice a day to check that he's there. It can go off any time between 9 a.m. and midnight, and he has to pick it up before it rings 10 times. Then he has to state his name and let its camera take a picture of him. That's it. That's just what she says.
And then if he doesn't do that, what will happen?
Oh, they'll call the cops.
Yeah.
Cops come. Yeah.
She then gives him a cup for him to fill for a urinalysis. He hears an animal behind him and looks to see his dad's Doberman. He closes his eyes, and the dog is gone. He asks what happened to his dad's dog when he passed, and she tells him it was put down, so he takes some of his pills. She then asks him how he knew his dad had a dog, and Tom replies saying, "Oh, he always kept a Doberman. He prided himself on how well they were trained. One bit me." He shows her the scar and continues, "When I was little. I wasn't supposed to pet him when he was eating." Brody responds, "Never get between a dog and his dinner. Your father proved that loud and clear." Tom asks, "Hey, what does that mean?" Brody responds, "It was days before we found him. It wasn't a pretty sight." And I'm going to pause there. She keeps going, but I want to also say that that timeline actually doesn't add up with some things we see later.
It also doesn't really answer his question at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess...
Which question? I already forgot what question.
About, like, him getting in the way with the food.
Yeah.
And, like
what does that mean?
Is that, I mean, what we see later is what I think you were supposed to take from that. Spoiler for a scene later. His dad got somewhat eaten by the dog because the dog had no food.
Yeah.
And
dogs ate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing I wanted to point out was that timeline doesn't quite add up. We find out in a later scene that he died 5 days ago. And then, like, it took days for them to find him, but then also, like, there's another line later that I don't remember exactly, which puts it a couple extra days between certain events. So it just needs to be a couple more days, but they said 5 days at one point.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm probably wrong. Someone will probably be like, no, actually, if you really think about it, it works just perfectly. And I'll be like, oh, okay, fine. Fair enough.
Well, he spent, like, a couple days in the house before they learned that it was 5 days ago that his dad killed himself. So I guess that gives the dog...
No, you're right.
3
That's what it
days.
is. It's actually 3 days. That's what it is, though. No. Thank you for point. Spoiler. The line later. I'm not going to tell you what the line is, but there's a point later where we find out that he made a video 5 days ago. That's 3 days after this.
I think it's just 2. Is it 3 days?
Even if it is 2. She's saying that
Anyway.
it took days to find his dad. He knew about his dad already being dead. There's a couple days missing here for this to work out perfectly. So, what I'm saying is... 2 out of 10 at best now is what I'm giving the movie.
There's
All
logical
flaw?
inconsistencies
So I'm
in
out.
the timeline.
Anal about the timelines.
I am. I want my timelines accurate. But yeah, that's what I haven't. The podcast has just because you aren't here doesn't mean I change as a person, Isaiah.
Just watching the movie, marking a calendar.
No, it was probably on my second watch, hearing the dates again, and going like, "Oh yeah, that's wrong." And then I didn't even write these down. I just thought about it here when we were going over again. Like, I guess I'll mention that. I actually don't care that much. Like, I'll bring it up because it's fun to bring up little flaws. But like, spoiler, that did not hurt my opinion on this movie.
Oh, an opinion spoiler.
I know, opinion spoiler. That I didn't tell you if I liked the movie or not. But the slight time discrepancy has nothing to do with my opinion on this movie.
Cool.
Crazy, I know. This is a weird energy. It's nice to have you back, Isaiah.
It is nice. Yeah.
It is. It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, back to in the middle, because we left off in the middle of a Brody line. She says, "You feeling okay? Where are your pills? Give me these. What is this? Need a little?" Tom says, "Look, that's my problem, okay? Not yours." She responds, Come here. Come on. Don't be shy. You and me." I mean, that's the line. She says, "Come here."
It
3 times.
is.
I know.
But the way you read it sounded so weird.
so
Probably just because there wasn't
drawn
like as
out,
long
yeah.
of pauses.
Well, I don't have time to do every pause that they do. In
Which
that.
is fair, but it was just like the way you said it was very funny.
Okay, I'll
But
take it.
Brody really is just such a beating to watch. Every scene with Brody, she just lays it on so thick, and I don't think it's the actress. I think that's just the character of Brody.
Yeah.
It's fair.
It's
Where-
like if you were actually in a room with this character, you would just be really uncomfortable the whole time.
I'd be feeling the same. Yeah, it is so convincing and just the worst cop ever. And she's introduced in a way where you think maybe this will be one of those kind of gruff, initially unlikable characters that will endear themselves to us as the movie goes on. It's like, no. There's my opinion. Spoiler.
Whoa,
Brody
that
does
is
not get
kind
better
of a
in
spoiler
my
because there
eyes.
is a point a little bit in the middle where the movie wants you to think that she's becoming not bad,
Yeah.
and you just
Well,
ruined that for
okay.
people who don't watch.
No, she isn't bad.
Yeah.
It's just.
So she says.
divorce?
She says, come here, come on, don't be shy. You and me, we're gonna be friends. Look, for the next 30 days, you're mine. If you screw up even the slightest way, you're going straight back to the Institute. A perimeter breach, missed phone call, someone else in the house, oh, any sign you're losing it? Anything? Boom. Because after what you and your brother did, there is nothing I'd like more than to make sure you never get to swim in that pool again. She's a really nice lady. Tom says, okay, and pulls away from her. She continues.
Valid response, Tom.
Everyone in life either wears a collar or holds a leash. Guess where that puts me? Tom says, no, I'm never going back to that place. Never. Brody responds, that's the spirit. I'll be checking in. She heads out the door and Tom asks, well, when can I expect you? Brody replies, whenever I feel like showing up. And she leaves.
Yeah,
And it's here that we kind of see, like,
abusive power play.
No, I mean, here's the thing. She
Which, like,
is...
valid as his, but, yeah.
No,
just the
here's
way
the...
she worded
I
it.
want to say, you are right. She is terrible. But you brought it up on that end line, and that is literally just how parole works. You don't get to know when to expect her, because that defeats the whole point of random check-ins.
Well, yeah.
The intimidation, the half the scene before that, yeah, no, she's terrible for that. This is actually a fair response. When I show up, you don't get to know, because then you could, like, plan your drinking and drugs around the P-tests. Like, you don't want to do that. So the point is, she's actually a great cop, and you are both wrong.
Great cop, yeah. Yeah.
He puts on his mom's favorite record onto the phonograph.
the creepiest record of all by the ink blots, ink stains, whoever those guys are.
It's
Ink
Spots.
It's the Ink Spots
Yeah.
recording of "Prisoner of Love," which was initially written.
Prisoner
It's written. The lyrics are written by Leo Robin initially back in like the 30s, and it was originally like performed by Russ Columbia, and also I think Clarence Gaskill also helped write the original music for it. But this is specifically the Ink Spots recording of it from like the 40s or 50s. I did my research and dug to find information on which version of the song is, so I wanted to credit the right people.
And
Yeah.
it is that weird 1940s, like,
Yeah.
very throaty frog singing.
Yeah, I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Feels like I'm playing Fallout when I
can see
hear
that.
this song.
That's-
It's haunting. Yeah, the only like crack in the armor is that like, oh, my mom loved to just dance and frolic to this record. Her favorite record to listen to, and it's like the creepiest song that you could conjure up. Anyway, yeah, works well on the scene though.
It does. It was well picked.
He heads to his father's room while the song echoes in the background. He gets a phone call from the number 1007. He answers it, and it's Gusvet. Wait, no, it's actually Billy from Black Christmas. Wait, no, sorry. Once again, it's an unknown caller who breathes in the phone and makes weird noises, spooking.
So it is Billy.
So it
from
kind
Black
of is Billy. That's why I said it there. It does really feel like Billy from Black Christmas. It's not. Spoiler. I won't tell you who it is, but this is not a Black Christmas movie.
No, it's not. Thankfully.
Whoa.
Because there's only, like, one good Black Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I assume. I haven't seen either of the two that follow it, but I haven't heard great things about the middle one, and I've heard terrible things about the most recent one.
I tried to watch the middle one, and I could not get through it.
Well, you will have to this December.
No!
Whoa! Spoilers for December!
So anyways.
Yeah, so he answers it. It's Ghostface. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It spooks him, so he leaves the room, and he heads to his childhood bedroom. He goes through an old box of his stuff that includes a Rolling Stone magazine from 1995, which I will say, timeline-wise, does make me wonder, like, how old is he supposed to be here? Like, I mean, I think he might supposed to be, like, roughly his real age, which does make him seem a little creepy with something we see a little later, because she does not give off pushing 40 vibes.
I think that he is supposed to be
early 30s.
I mean,
because if we look at the video,
well,
like,
this is
the home videos,
2018 is when this movie came out. He has a Rolling Stone magazine, which you're not picking up music magazines till you're at least like probably 13. That means he's 13 or so in 95, and this is 23 years later, so he's like 36. He's mid-30s.
Well, the more reliable way to point it out, I mean, it's just like he's been locked up for exactly 20 years, and we know that the home videos are like, that's pretty much the age.
No, it's not.
When he committed the crime.
No, he's 10 there. They say that at one point, I think, or something. But like he goes in when he's 15. We get it at exact. He's actually supposed to be 35.
He was in when he's
35.
Okay,
Yep.
Sure.
They do say how old he was when he went in, because they talk about like we'll get to that scene. But yeah, I'm just saying she does not give off 35 vibes. The girl that we may be mentioning, who may be in this movie later, especially when she's like commenting on his music choice being really old. Once again, I think he's a cradle robber. Is all I'm trying to say.
Topher Grace doesn't look 35 in this movie either. I mean,
but he was he was older. He was like 42.
I believe it. But
yeah. Topher Grace also just looks perpetually like in his late 20s.
18. Yeah.
All right. The point is, moving on. He has a magazine from 95. Also, other things in the box are some cassettes, a trophy, a poster of a model in a bikini. I tried to do my research and try to figure out like famous posters from the 90s. Could not find out the name of the model. Just I wanted to bring it up because it'd be funny. Couldn't bring it up. I can't tell you that magazine, back, is from August 95. It's the August 95 issue of Rolling Stone.
There you go.
I do my research, okay? And also, there were no other notes I can give on this movie. There was no, like, making of. So that's the closest thing to a fun fact you're getting in this movie, is that magazine is from August of 95. Okay? That's all you get. That's all I have to give.
Cool fact.
Fair enough.
So yeah, then he also finds his old TV and a plush dog named Mr. Larry. Then he starts to rip off the wallpaper, revealing a record of him growing, but stops ripping when he sees his brother Alex's height. Bum, bum, bum.
When the music gets ominous.
Well, yeah.
Ominous.
But, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's
Alex's ominous presence.
Is this Alex guy a problem? We'll have to wait and find out. I mean, I guess actually, no, we know. Because, there was the line from Brody that said, what you and your brother did. So I guess, him and his brother did something.
Yeah.
Share some kind of a terrible crime.
He then hangs some drawings he did and a Weezer The Blue Album poster on his wall. In later shots, we see that on the other walls, he also hangs some of his other posters. I don't know if he hung them here, but, I'll mention. Yeah, he hangs some other posters, too. I don't remember what they were. I mean, one of them is the bikini girl that I could not find. I tried. But
I feel like his drawings they carry so much weight for making him likable. That and the Rubik's Cube. He's like doing the Rubik's Cube and he solves it in the therapy session that we see. And he's got this talent. And I was thinking, like, if he wasn't good at drawing, would we like him as much? I mean,
think so.
I don't know.
I think honestly, spoiler, one of the only other times the drawing actually comes up in the plot is not a moment that makes him endearing. It is a moment that he rightfully understands makes him a little creepy.
Come on. Oh my gosh.
We'll get to that when we get to that. Especially because she's not old enough. Well, I mean, I'm not saying...
I mean, she's definitely probably an adult in this movie.
She's definitely a young adult. But he's like a middle-aged adult.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
pushing middle age.
The average lifespan is like 70. He's 35. That's
He
literally
is exactly
middle
middle
age.
age. He just hit middle age.
Because now, in 2023, the life expectancy for men has moved up to 73. But I want to say back in 2018, it was closer to 70. All right, so moving on. So he hangs up a poster of the Blue Album.
Yeah. And congratulations, you all just got wheezed.
Is that a thing?
Weezer is very popularly hated on by modern culture.
Why?
In the meme world.
Like,
Uh,
the Blue Album's
I
a
don't
good
know.
album. Like, I'm not like a Weezer fan, but like, their early stuff is just decent.
Yeah.
All right.
Weezer has become like the modern day Nickelback.
But Nickelback.
I was fixing to say Nickelback. Oh my
Nickelback
gosh.
was
yeah.
also good. I'll say it. I don't care. I'll take the heat. I think Nickelback was a solid band.
I don't know if I would say Nickelback was good, but they're definitely not bad. They're kind of just there.
You know what? I'll give you that. I think they have like one or two songs that I think are good, and then in general, they're just a band that I have no issue with, and I don't understand why the internet hates them.
But Weezer, I do just genuinely enjoy. So you know.
Okay. I thought you were about to
Sorry,
be like Weezer. I understand. They're terrible.
No.
Like, oh no.
I
the
fully
Weezer
accept
heads.
that meme culture hates Weezer right now, and I will take on the full heat.
And
of
here's the
that.
thing: knowing our demographic, it tends older. Older people like Weezer. We gotta be careful with the Weezer hate.
I mean, I had no Weezer hate.
I think I'm hearing Weezer hate, but I'm gonna move on because this is shaping up to be a 40-hour podcast.
Welcome to the Weezer podcast. Review the Blue Album.
Poster in the movie Delirium. It's a
Very
poster,
close
and it's a
podcast.
pretty good one. I appreciate the album cover of the Blue Album. It's a nice one. I will say, you know what? I'm gonna stick on Weezer for like 10 more seconds. Weezer, decent band. The couple songs I've heard, I don't care about Weezer. The thing I don't like about Weezer is their weird laziness of having like 6 self-titled albums that the fans just call them by the color. That's weird. I'm sorry. Come up with cool titles for your band, for your albums.
But why do that when they can just change the color of the background of the album and
I guess-
take new pictures?
I don't know. I mean, like, because it takes a little bit of creativity. Maybe the internet.
Well,
might be...
no, because now they have a unique way of titling their albums.
But see, the thing is,
And
Chris, I would agree if they
go,
only
this
ever
is our
did
yellow album.
color albums, but mixed throughout all of their self-titled albums are like 1 or 2 non-self-titled albums throughout the thing. They don't consistently decide that that's their thing. They have like.
How do you?
I looked up Weezer's discography like a couple of months ago. I don't remember why. So like I
and
have.
now it's just in his brain.
Yeah, then the autism took it in and was like, I get this.
How do you feel about Led Zeppelin 1 through 4?
I don't even.
Same thing.
I'll be honest. I don't know.
Well, I didn't watch a video on that. So.
I'll be honest. I don't know if I could name you a Led Zeppelin song. I am not a music person. I got into AFI recently, so I could tell you some AFI songs, but that's about it.
You're also a big Weezer head now.
No, I'm not. I just know that
You
they
got
have
a lot of Weezer facts.
I weirdly do, but it has nothing to do with knowing literally anything else about Weezer.
So, anyways, there's a Weezer album poster.
Yeah.
We're never finishing this podcast.
Thank
some
you for
more
tuning
liminal
in to
space
part
right now.
1 of the Delirium podcast.
Welcome to the Delirium
Wait, where did I say
podcast
it go?
What is happening right now?
Do I continue? Well,
That's
okay.
much I was getting orange juice.
I missed it. I was laughing at the time about my own joke. All right,
You
so
thought you were just like, all right, I'm done.
I was like, I respected
See you
it.
later.
You're like, this was
my
my
window.
Bois Choice, and they're talking about Weezer right now. And Isaiah,
Disdainful manner.
he's a little Gen Z boy who really loves hating on Weezer because he's part of that internet culture. Isaiah with his big internet presence.
That's me.
Yeah. That's what they're always talking about when they talk about Isaiah.
That's true.
I'm on the cutting edge.
Yeah. All right. So he also takes out a picture of him as a kid with a cracked frame and says, "Like hell, you didn't hate me." We then cut to the next morning with him waking up to a phone ringing. He picks up his phone and it's no one. So he realizes it's his surveillance phone and runs to the kitchen to answer it. Once he's checked in, he goes to the cabinet that's full of tomato soup and a box of Fruity Pebbles. But the box is empty.
Just Fruity Pebble dust.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah, because it is an old Fruity Pebble box.
And that's the end of the movie, guys, actually. That's the horror of this movie. It's like, no Fruity Pebbles!
Yeah. And he can't leave the house.
And it's
But there was time to eat Fruity Pebbles now!
He did build it up. He's like, I've loved you all these years.
He did say, like, it's been 20 years and I still love you.
Never stopped loving you.
Yeah. So he calls the grocery store and puts in an order for Fruity Pebbles and milk. The voice on the phone call is Lynn, who's played by Genesis Rodriguez of Umbrella Academy, Big Hero 6, Tusk. Isaiah, I need you to turn down, us, because I can. Your mic is picking up the audio.
Oh yeah, it sure is.
I don't know why that started happening.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it stopped. I think we're good. So yeah, she's in Tusk and Yoga Hosers. In Yoga Hosers, she's in that movie alongside Horror Boy alums Johnny Depp of Nightmare on Elm Street and Adam Brody of Scriform and makeup effect artist, former and founding member of K&B Effects Group, Robert Kurtzman of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, New Nightmare, Jason Goes to Hell, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Texas Chainsaw 3D, Wishmaster, The Faculty, and Scream. And I will now take a breath. Alright. We then get a montage of Tom having fun in his home, set to lump by the presidents of the United States of America, that starts with him hanging his Countdown to Freedom calendar. It ends when he hears the doorbell ring. It's Lynn from the market. It's a really charming, awkward interaction between the two of them. She tells him that she's sorry for his loss of his father. She asks him if he has any family that could help him out, and he explains that he doesn't because his mom left when he was 15, and he hasn't heard from her since. She goes to get him her mix CD called Gray, that represents her emotions when she recorded it, so he has some more modern music to listen to. And that's the end of the scene. And once again, like I said, though, it is very, the dialogue was, not in a way that, I could write it down and it mattered, but, just the delivery from both actors was quite charming, and it was really cute.
Yeah.
Like an effective awkwardness on purpose.
An effective awkward chemistry, one might say.
And it's a really awkward chemistry because she's 12 and he's 52.
I
wouldn't say that.
Looked up the age of Genesis Rodriguez. She's 30-something. I didn't do the exact math because she's born in 1987. But that was
he was
over
born
30
in
years ago.
76. So he's 11 years older than her.
He was born in 76?
Mm-hmm.
Topher Grace is how old is that?
53.
Yeah,
55.
Topher Grace is 53 years old.
No. Yes?
I'm going to look this up. Hold on.
40.
Oh, God.
No, he's... No, it's 46. Sorry, I did my math wrong.
Yeah, I was
That
going to
makes
say.
him 46.
Grace. Now, he looks so
44.
much older than he did in 2018.
Well, it was COVID, man. It messes up everyone.
He's 44.
Oh, so I guess he was born in 79 then.
78. July 12th. Oh, he's a Cancer.
All right, so moving on.
Not very nice.
Me and Topher Grace are Cancers together.
All right.
All right.
He listens to
More
the
fun
CD.
fact. Topher Grace.
He listens to the CD that is very heavy and asks himself, "Okay, if this is gray, what's black?" And then a drum roll hits, and
Yeah.
because it's kind of a dad joke, is the joke I was trying to make. But my joke didn't land. Kind of like his in this scene. He then draws a beautiful picture of her and is going to call her to tell her he drew it for her, but chickens out and realizes that might be taken as creepy, because it kind of is. He met her once, and now...
It isn't.
No, it is. She
decides that it isn't. Her reaction of it is totally positive.
And she also makes a joke about exactly what this kind of behavior is. We'll get to that scene when we get to it. We're not there yet, but she also acknowledges that it's creepy, but she liked it. Okay?
Disagree.
Well, we'll discuss her exact line later. But for now, he's listening to he's still, so he then hangs
listening to Lump.
next to the phone. No, he's not listening to
Lump
Lump.
anymore.
He's listening to
He's
Gray.
listening to Gray. He's listening to a Gray Lump.
No. We cut to him watching a video of him as a kid decorating a cake for his dad and mom's anniversary. Excuse me, I just burped in the middle of the podcast because the podcast couldn't get any more unprofessional.
No.
He pauses it to go do his check-in phone call, but no one's there. So he goes and answers the other phone. It's Ghostface! Wait, no. It's the creepy caller again. So he hangs up and tries to call them back, but it's a private number that can't receive calls. Oh, scary.
Yeah, they want the privacy? Oh.
It is unsettling.
I mean, if you're calling someone else, I mean, it's kind of, maybe don't be calling some other person multiple times without ever, presumably actually picking up and actually talking to them. It's the way it seems, It's kind of creepy to have a private number there. Whoever this person is should feel really bad about how creepy they're being. And I'm saying that with full knowledge of how this movie goes.
Oh.
He then hears floorboards creaking above him, and then he sees his dad's Doberman in the hall. He follows it to the living room where he sees it eating his dad's mangled corpse behind the couch.
Yeah.
We'll just bring up here, just the makeup effects on the dad are really cool. We get to see him a couple more times, but they look good whenever we see them.
Yeah.
He tells himself, trust your brain, not your eyes. Oh my gosh, Chris, you were right, it was important. It came back.
I did it.
He closes his eyes, and when he opens them, the dog and his dad are gone. But then they're behind him, but when he turns, they're gone again.
Oh,
it was actually a very well done, scary scene for, the audience. But it is also one of those scenes where if you think about it, knowing the movie, you go, wait, what? He couldn't see them behind. What?
Yeah.
Right, because if we're only seeing what's in his own mind.
Which, spoiler, maybe the only way to actually take what's happening in this movie when you watch it. How is this happening when there's no one there? But whatever,
Yeah, I mean, we are experiencing this whole movie through his perspective, pretty much.
But he isn't looking there, so
that's the part with this one. I mean,
that's the part. Literally,
I'm saying there is an issue here.
This one moment is we're not in his perspective here. This is just a scare the audience moment, and a well done one.
Yeah.
I'll give it credit. It was a spooky scene when the dad was behind him. I was like, oh, but it makes no sense. And I want movies that make sense with my psychological horror,
perfect
possibly
timelines.
Ghost movies. Yes, with a perfect timeline. I expect that of all movies, Chris.
A flawless timeline.
That's the least anyone could ask for.
Okay, I'm going to pause again. Because here's the thing. I just want to explain why I get mad at timelines in movies. You know why? Because they're not
because
necessary.
you can just rewrite it.
You could rewrite it when you realize it doesn't work. And two, I don't need to know exactly what day he died.
It was exactly 7 days ago.
Later they go 99% of the time. They don't need to tell you what day the movie takes place in. You don't have to tell me that this was he recorded that 5 days ago. Why did you just tell me that? That ruins other lines in this movie. You didn't have to have that line. You could have said, he recorded that the night he died. It gets the exact same point across. But then I will say, unrelated to this one, just because I want to crap on it again, because if I'm bringing up bad timelines, I will bring up Texas Chainsaw 3D has one of the worst timelines of all time. There is no way that girl is 40. But that movie is obviously set in modern times because the cop uses live video calls. That movie could have been set in 2000 or like 99 if they didn't have the video call scene. But that video call scene means it was set in 2013 when it came out, and that means somehow she was 40. All right, so back to this movie.
Fair points.
So this is the weirdest podcast episode I think we may have ever done, which is crazy because I thought last week's was a weird one, Chris.
What was so weird about last week?
There was a weird energy on it. It was a shorter movie that almost nothing happened in. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Creep, but not a lot actually happens in Creep. So there was a lot of us just talking, yet somehow we've done more in this one with a movie with a very solid, like, digestible plot with lots that happen. So I'm going to move on, because this is probably going to be a 3-hour podcast.
I don't know, side note, you should watch Creep, Isaiah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Creep, you should watch it. It's on Netflix.
I like Creep.
Okay.
Creep's not bad. Yeah.
But you have to admit, almost nothing happens. Like, if you think about it for the sake of a podcast, it is mostly just tension the movie.
Yes. Cool that they maintain it, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, something about a dog, I think. Yeah, a dog eating a dad. Something.
Yep.
Is that where we
Classic.
left off?
Yeah, Dad pops up
he tells him,
behind
trust
and it
your
doesn't make
brains,
sense
not your
because
eyes.
he
Dad
couldn't
scares
do
him
that.
from behind. You're right. Okay. Then he takes some pills and heads to his room and rips off his wallpaper in a pattern that I felt was especially with how it was shot, was framed, that I was supposed to mean something about the way he ripped it, but it means nothing.
Not at all.
It's not
a
but
thing.
it's like they draw back to like show it, like, oh, what imagery are we supposed to see in this wallpaper? It's just, he just ripped the wallpaper.
Just him being unhinged.
Yeah, but it just felt like there's ways to show him being unhinged without like drawing backwards, like drawing attention to what it looks like now.
Yeah,
Do a steady shot from behind of him ripping it to show that he's crazy just ripping his wallpaper. But instead they do it like it's a reveal.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to just like portray his mental state. I mean, it's something that happens periodically in the movie, and I think this is just a middle part where it's like going from bad to worse. Him like peeling back the layers of this house. That's kind of the action of the movie, right?
All right. It's a metaphor.
Maybe.
Okay. You literally just were like, well, it's this metaphor for the movie. I'm like, oh, it's a metaphor. You're like, I don't know. You just said it with so much confidence.
That's what you want to call it.
You just said it with so much confidence. Like, well, I think it was actually the metaphor of the movie. And also, you missed it. Gosh, why are you questioning it? And then I'm like, also, it was a metaphor. And you're like, whoa, don't say that I said the thing I said.
Yeah.
You don't have any proof.
I do. We've recorded it. Roll back the tape. Nah, that takes editing. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, he rips the wallpaper and what I'm pretty sure is supposed to be a tree to represent the splintered family dynamic he's living in.
Family tree.
Yeah. Then the Grey playlist turns to a really poppy song that makes him smile. He then hears loud creaking noises coming from his wall. Bum, bum, bum. He follows the noises into the hall before ending up what I thought was still in the hall, but due to much later scenes figured out is he actually ends up in his dad's office at this point in the movie. The framing of where things are in the house was kind of confusing till the second time I watched it at the very end. But he is in his father's office, and he sees a painting of his dad in his office, and then stops to like look at it. And then behind him, the wardrobe shakes and makes a loud noise, so he turns around to investigate it and reveals that there's a
ghost!
No. It's Ghostface!
Later.
No, it's, well, you mean, we want to do the it's Ghostface joke. Scream 3 did come out in 2001 and had a secret passageway in a mansion-like home.
That's
Sounds
true.
like this movie is ripping off Scream 3.
Mm.
There's phone calls involved, and there's a secret passageway. That's basically the entire plot of Scream 3 if I described it only using 5 words. I'll be honest, I would not have brought up the secret passageway if I was actually describing that movie. I would have been like, Ghostface in Hollywood. The end.
In space.
Austin, that's only 3 words.
Yeah, you're right. Ghostface in Hollywood. Secret brother? Question mark?
Oh.
Spoiler for Scream 3 if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But maybe not though, because I said question mark. I left it open-ended.
Ooh. That's a soft spoiler, maybe.
Maybe. So yeah, he goes into the secret wardrobe hole.
Yeah, and it's Narnia.
Yeah. First he grabs a flashlight and he heads back there. He finds peepholes looking into most rooms, including his childhood bedroom. As he looks in, the door to his room slowly opens, and then he's jump scared by himself looking back at him, I think.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. It is literally himself.
Yeah.
I don't know how this affected Joel. That moment scared the crap out of me when I saw it. Like, that jump scare jumped me really good.
Oh.
I don't remember how I reacted.
Saw it coming a mile away. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the first time and the second time I watched it, I was just trying to figure out, is that Topher? Is this supposed to be one of the other male actors who are in this movie?
No.
Why is
spoiler, won't be the first time Topher gets jump scared by himself.
By Toph.
Does he?
Yeah, there's a second Toph on Toph jump scare.
I don't remember the Toph on Toph jump scare.
I don't remember exactly where it happens, but it kind of happens out of nowhere.
Alright, well, we'll see that when we get to it. Because I don't remember it. It might be there. I'm not denying it. I'm sure if it happened, I wrote it down. So we'll get to it if it's here.
Yeah. If you watch the movie, it should be in there.
So yeah, he gets scared by himself. So he runs away. Out of the passageway, into his dad's office. He closes the door behind him. Flipping pages. Alright, and starts to leave his house, but when he hears the beeping of his ankle monitor, returns back inside. But now, the office doors are open! Ah! So he locks himself in the kitchen! Ah! And he calls Brody. Ah! Well, that one actually was kind of deserved.
Yeah.
And Brody asks, "Did you screw up?" He replies, "What? No.
No.
I just, you know, I haven't been alone like this in 20 years. We cut to him sitting in the fetal position waiting for Brody to show up. When she comes in his open door, he says, "Thanks for coming." Brody says, "Don't leave the door open. Were you raised in a barn?" Tom replies, "Yeah, sorry. You weren't in the middle of anything, were you?" She replies, "Like what? What? A date?" "Unfortunately, you're the only man in my life. Well, unless you count my deadbeat ex-husband." You sound as... There's a creak. So Tom interrupts her asking, "Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that creak?" She replies, "Yeah, I did. There's something I'd hoped I'd never have to tell you." Tom asks, "What?" She replies, "It's your father. He doesn't want you here."
Ah!
"Nah, you're a nutbag." She laughs and continues, "This is a big house. They creak. Make noise. Trust me. The only person haunting this place is you." She's a nice lady.
Dude.
It's really nice to
It's
make mean jokes at the expense of someone with a mental disability who is
It's
struggling.
like, what are you, schizophrenic? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I am. Oh. We cut to them on the couch. Brody asks, "When was the last time you had a drink?" Tom replied, "Never." She says, Never? She pulls out a flask and pours him a shot, telling him, this will help you. He laughs and says, okay. Don't I have to do a urine test every time you come over? She responds, no, that's my discretion. You take them when I say so. You're gonna be okay. They both take their drinks. They did alcohol in this movie. You're going to hell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tom coughs.
She might be, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Tom coughs, saying, that's got to be an acquired taste. But you know what? Fair. I mean, alcohol tastes like crap. I'll say it. Anyone who likes the taste of alcohol probably has drank a lot of it, and that's why they now like it. Most people do not start out liking the taste of alcohol. I'm sure there's someone out there who will prove me wrong, but in general, you have to develop a taste for it. Because, you know, it's almost like it probably was something that was never actually meant to go in your body.
Well, hold on. Yeah, no.
I'm straight
That's why
edge.
most people mix alcohol with other drinks to cover the taste of alcohol.
Yeah. I'm straight edge, except for when I'm not.
I have a bumpy edge.
Yeah.
I have an edge.
Yeah.
It's somewhere.
Sure. I'm straight edge, unless I'm in Colorado. So... where was I? So yeah, he says that, you know, alcohol tastes bad. And Brody asks, you feeling better? Tom says, a little bit, yeah. Hey, thanks for coming over. You're a lot nicer than I thought. See, Isaiah? You spoiled this line. She says, yeah, in all kinds of ways. It's just... And she goes in and starts making out with him. You ruined that 5 seconds in between me saying that first line of him saying it and her starting to make a move on him without asking. There was 5 seconds that someone who didn't see the movie would have thought she's kind of not a horrible person.
You're right.
And
Yeah.
it was
Ruin
ruined.
that 5 seconds of maybe redemption, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe underneath that tough exterior, she's actually considerate.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No,
Nope.
she's a
Nope. She is a creep to the core.
So he pushes her off and says, I'm sorry. She says, I thought you wanted this. He replies with a bit of an awkward chuckle. What? She says, oh, go ahead. Yeah, laugh. He says, no. She continues, no, go ahead, laugh. He says, no. You didn't do anything wrong. She says, laugh, rich boy. Go ahead, you son of a... She then slams him down on a coffee table and continues, you dragged me out here in the middle of the night and go cold fish on me, and then you have the nerve to pity me? Why'd you get me out here, boy? Why? Why'd you get me out here? Because you're afraid of the dark? Huh? Right? She takes his pills to Tom's protest and says, I own you, bad man? Bad dog? Female dog?
Sure.
Can I just say the word? Because I kind of feel like she's kind of doing like a whole ownership dynamic here. Is she just referring to him as a dog? Am I allowed to say it here? Is this PG cursing? I don't know. We'll stick with bad man. She continues her line. Maybe when your demons start coming out of the woodwork, you won't play so hard to get. Oh, isn't that nice? She's
A truly
Romantic.
awful and terrible
She's
person.
stealing his drugs to hopefully convince him to let her sleep with him. Which
Yeah, which is extra messed up when you start to think about it at all and consider that this 35-year-old man has been in a psych ward for 20 years, so he is essentially mentally and like emotionally a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That this 60-something-year-old woman is trying to take advantage.
Set in Kentucky, Chris, so he was of legal age.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where this movie's set.
Oh no. It's extra messed up.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna point it out here.
Especially because like there's the, you know, also like there's the whole
Also
like,
power dynamic.
There's the power dynamic. There's the let's say
Him
he
being
does
mentally
agree
ill.
to say like it's like this would never hold up in a court of law. Like this is there's coercion here. You stole his drugs he needed.
Yeah.
This is not affirmative consent. Even if he did consent, which he never does, thankfully. But yeah, so yeah, she leaves. He marks the second day on his freedom calendar.
All my homies hate Brody. Woo!
And he tapes over the peephole in his room. He arms himself with a hammer while sitting on his bed. He sees a shadow move past the door, so he gets spooked. And he takes a few doses of NyQuil to help him fall asleep.
He just like me for real.
Whoa, Chris, I don't think you should be admitting to overdosing on NyQuil to sleep at night. That was a joke, folks.
Somehow. It was.
Even if it's not, that's a joke, folks.
Don't do NyQuil.
Yeah. Jeez.
And unless it's in moderate doses, as recommended by your doctor.
I mean, I'm sorry, you don't have to have a recommendation from a doctor.
Or if you have a flu or
cold. I'm sorry, I don't ever get doctor's permission to take NyQuil.
Or if the allergies are hitting you really hard.
Yeah, no, there's definitely reasons to take it, but not at least 3 doses like he does here.
Nah, just raw dog life.
Because I'm straight edge and I don't do nothing. NyQuil's evil. Unless I'm in Colorado. So where was I?
Down's the NyQuil.
Oh yeah, he wakes up the next day at 1 in the afternoon. Now ain't that me? Just kidding. I'm not awake by 1. He goes to the pool and sits at the bottom for fun, I guess. He sees his mom being drowned above him, and then sees a figure standing ominously. Presumably his dad. I mean, I don't know who it's supposed to be. We don't ever see it clearly. He's under the water. We can't see the man. But it's a man standing above him, so it's probably supposed to be his dad. I don't know.
Yeah, because his dad has been the one haunting him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this is too early for what you're thinking, Isaiah, there. I don't...
Right.
Well, it could be his brother since the pool closes.
I think... Well, then we see that the machine's literally malfunctioning.
That's a good point.
So I think this is supposed to still all be hallucinations. Like the whole movie is.
Maybe.
Or the house is actually haunted. Oh.
I'm neither nodding nor shaking my head.
Yeah. Then the retractable floor starts to close above him. He's just able to get out before it closes. He then checks the control panel and it's glitching out, saying it has an auto close timer set, but he can't get it to stop. It's glitching out, which makes him think.
So he just unplugs it.
Yeah, so he just unplugs it. So now it's just left open. Which, fair enough. I mean, you don't need an auto close.
You don't need the indoor pool closed.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there still could bugs and dust could get in. That's why you do that, is to cut down on pool cleaning. It's not like he has a job, so I mean. He's going to probably need to hire a pool cleaner now. Hopefully he meets someone whose father is a pool cleaner at some point in this movie.
Yeah. Be convenient. That never happens.
What's crazy is that that line was able to, that was not in my script of notes or whatever to talk about the pool needing cleaned. What are the odds that this movie then has a character who's related to a pool cleaner? But yeah, so he opens the panel and pulls out the cord and finds a tongue in a jar, but he puts it back in, saying, "Trust your brain, not your eyes." Oh my gosh, Chris, you're right. It does come up more than once. But did you know about the Buffyverse? See, this tongue was actually in episode 12 of season...
Oh, no.
But yeah, he puts the jar back in, saying that, and closes the panel back up. He goes back to watching the old anniversary video where his dad asks him when their anniversary is. Tom replies, well, young Tom that is, replies, October 7th. Young Tom, his dad, and young Alex surprise his mom with the anniversary cake. Oh, isn't that nice? The video then glitches, cutting to a weird shot of his parents' bedroom where a woman with a box on her head stands up from behind the bed. Huh.
His mom.
We don't know that. It's never said directly.
Okay.
Honestly, at this
and
point,
also, we wouldn't know that at this point.
Yeah, at this point, you can't tell. It's just what is this footage? Yeah.
Wait, I mean,
later
who else would it be?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, we know that after watching the movie, but at this point in the movie, we would
who knows who's
not
torturing
know
people in boxes in this house? His mom's been
anyway, screwed up
years.
footage.
Yeah, it's weird that this is here, but then, oh no, the tape gets messed up. He'll never be able to watch it again to see if that even happened. Maybe it was all in his crazy head.
Maybe it was all a dream.
No, it's not a dream. He's awake.
Yeah, he is.
It's just maybe it was a hallucination because he's schizophrenic.
Yeah.
He looks up the stairs and sees his father at the banister, as dead people typically do.
Hanging out.
Yeah. Tom heads to his parents' bedroom. In the hall, the door closes on its own, and he sees the shadow of someone inside. He repeats to himself, "Trust your brain," but doesn't finish the line. So Chris was actually wrong about the line being important this time. As he continues walking to the door, inside he checks behind the mirror and finds a hidden closet with a camcorder on a tripod. Inside the closet, he sees that it's a two-way mirror. His dad's creepy.
A freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. It sounds like his dad is like a executive in Hollywood in Scream 3. And definitely not anyone else involved with the making of Scream. Just the character in Scream 3.
This is going over my head.
Produced by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
So where were we? This movie is a Universal picture, so not produced by the Weinsteins. So that's pretty cool.
I agree.
It's also Blumhouse, though, so... I mean, I don't have any issues with Jason Blum, but I'm just saying it as a negative connotation, just in case someone doesn't like Blumhouse. I'll be...
there are.
Yeah, there are. Pretty much any of the studios, they all have their certain type of horror they typically put out, so if you don't like that, you're going to hate that studio.
Yeah.
What was I? Talk about
Two-way mirror?
Weinstein. No, actually, that wasn't even in my notes.
Two-way mirror.
Camcorder,
Dad's
two-way
a
mirror.
freak.
When he leaves the closet and the closet door, he sees his dad's mangled corpse next to him in the mirror. So he got scared.
Oh, you know what?
That's why I had a feel. Yeah, I had a feeling.
This is the scene where I thought he was himself but mangled.
No.
But it does make sense that it's his dad.
Yeah, it's his mangled dad next to him. So actually, he wasn't spooked by him. Check for Austin being right. And this is the point where Chris quits the podcast, and it's just me on the podcast going forward, which our detractors would say, well, nothing's changing, because Austin talks too much anyway.
Jeez, we're just really hitting the only people who watch us, huh?
I mean... I think this episode proves that that's not true. We're all talking.
Yeah.
You just need Isaiah to come back, but he's, a selfish little boy going to college.
Getting an education.
Second one.
It's true.
He already had an education. Some of us over here can't afford to get a first one. Just get real and depressing on the podcast. So moving on. This is the weirdest episode we've ever put out.
Yeah. By far.
So he runs out of the room, closing the door behind him. He says, "I'm sorry, this isn't my house. I don't deserve it." He hears a phone ringing and runs to the kitchen and sees it's the 1007 private number again. Bum, bum, bum. He answers and asks why they won't leave him alone and yells about how they're not real. He then hears creaks and sees someone in the hall and runs and hides in the secret passageway. He looks out the peephole and it's Alex, who says, "What are you doing? Oh, you still like to watch, huh? Yeah, you're still my little peeping Tom, huh? You come out when you're done, alright?" Alex is played by Callan Mulvey of Children of the Corn 2020, Captain America Winter Soldier, Avengers Endgame, and Batman v Superman alongside Horror Boy alums Jon Stewart of The Faculty and Lawrence Fishburne of Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yeah. And,
really...
Spoiler, is the bad guy in every single movie he's ever in. So
He's
if you see
an
this
evil
guy,
looking dude.
I don't
if
know.
you see this guy, know that he will be a bad person in any movie he's ever in.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, and I don't want to, but I'm sure I will eventually, because I've heard horrible things that it's terrible. Children of the Corn 2020. I doubt he's the bad guy because he's gonna be too old, and the kids are always
one
the
of the
bad
children.
guy.
And guess what? I am sure he will still be a bad guy.
I'm just saying, I don't think he's gonna be the bad guy in that. Like, I'd be shocked.
Not the bad guy, but he will always be a bad guy.
I don't know. I'll have to, Chris. One of us will have to watch Children of the Corn 2020, the greatest movie ever released in 2020 that people didn't start talking about until 2023 when it actually got a wide release.
That I've still not heard anything good about.
No, never one positive review. But don't worry, someday on this podcast, I'll put Children of the Corn on the list, and we'll cover the 12 crappy movies where there's one okay one at the beginning that even it doesn't hold up as well as it probably should.
Oh, it does not.
But then there's 7 or 8 sequels and 2 remakes.
Who knows why?
I did not know that. I seriously thought there was one.
No,
There's a lot.
I've never heard of any of these
many
remakes.
Children of the Corn movies, and I know we're gonna have to cover them someday. But I'm gonna wait till Isaiah's back full time. So what I'm trying to tell you, Isaiah, is actually don't ever come back full time.
Yeah, so you don't have to.
I do miss you, and I want you back full time as soon as we can make that possible. But for the sake of us never having to cover Children of the Corn, you can choose to never come back.
It is an option.
Or if you want to watch us suffer, because it does seem like you like to do that sometimes. Because knowing Isaiah, he'll end up being like, I actually kind of like Children of the Corn 6.
I actually have a podcast reviewing the suffering on this podcast. Yeah.
But yeah, the point is, the brother, he was in movies.
Yeah.
Does a great job in this one.
He does do an amazing job.
He's a phenomenal bad guy.
I'll pause here to say, slight spoiler for my end of movie thoughts. Oh no, I can't believe I did it on every podcast we've ever done.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Every actor in this movie delivers a 10 out of 10 for what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I would agree.
Really so, yeah.
Except for the mom. I didn't like her in those VHS scenes.
I mean, yeah, that's
a little wooden.
I didn't like young
movies.
Tom.
Yeah, I thought young Alex was kind of faking it. I didn't feel like he felt like a young Alex.
Felt like more of a young Joe.
One other thing I just wanted to bring up, just as a weird side note, is I like to try to look up movies and figure out what movie someone's in and has the most Horror Boy alums, so I can list off the most Horror Boy alums that a person was in. There are no Horror Boy alums in Avengers Endgame, unless they're way far down and they've been in the background of some other movie and I didn't notice them and didn't recognize their name. But I went through Avengers Endgame's 200-person cast, scrolling, did not see a name I recognized from Horror Boys. Which I thought was insane, because it's Avengers Endgame and it has the hugest roster of people in it ever, with everyone being huge movie stars, and a lot of them are in horror movies and will eventually be Horror Boy alums, because eventually everyone will be. That's how this was gonna work. But yeah, it was shocking that there was none. There might have been one, but it was one where I was I don't care about that person. I don't care about bringing them up. Well, I mean, I guess obviously there was one.
Security guard 12.
Yeah, there was Callan Mulvey, because he was in this movie. But I can't bring him up for being in that movie as a Horror Boy alum, because he's not a Horror Boy alum until he's in this.
Yet. Yeah. As of this moment, we have not published this podcast.
Oh, so when this episode comes out, he will be a Horror Boy alum already, because we covered it here.
He will have been.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll cover Cabin in the Woods, and then Chris Hemsworth will be a Horror Boy alum.
True.
So Tom leaves
we'll
the past.
Finally get that end game token that we've been looking for.
Well, we already have it.
Coveted in-game token.
Oh yeah. We now have the end game token we've been.
Well, we got to get at least.
We now will have had it.
We have to get at least 6 people so we can have the gauntlet.
Yeah, and then we can alter reality.
I think Callan Mulvey is the Soul Stone. Tom leaves the passageway and Alex says, "Hey, little brother." Tom says, "No, no, no, no. This isn't happening. You're in prison." Alex says, "They told me you were getting released. Holy poop, look at you, all grown up." "Well, don't look at me like I'm a stranger." "Well, it has been a long time." Alex walks over and hugs Tom. Alex continues, "I knew you had your issues, but it would have been nice if you replied to some of my letters over the years. Out of sight, out of mind, huh?" Tom asks, "How did you get in here?" Alex responds, "I came in through the window in the big room there. You left it open for me." Tom says, No, I didn't. Leave any window open." Alex says, "I mean, unlocked." "Relax, Tommy." Tom checks the window, and it's locked. He sees Alex bringing in his motorcycle through the back door. Tom says, "The window's locked." Alex says, "Well, I locked it. Behind me, obviously." You should just...
Reasonable.
Yeah, you shouldn't just go leaving your windows unlocked, Tommy.
Yeah, he didn't want anyone else breaking into the house. He already did that.
Yeah. Tom says, No, this isn't real. You're not real." Alex says, "That's so." Tom says, "I'm sorry, you just broke out of prison and came to say hi? That's bull poop." Alex says, "They let you out of the nut house a little early, huh?" Tom says, "My pills. You know that I don't have my medication. You know that." Alex says, "You know that, Tommy. How would I know that?" Tom
Which
thinks
is
for a second.
valid.
Yeah. Before saying, "What's the difference? I don't want you here." Alex says, "I just got here. Why would I leave?" The phone rings. So Tom tries to go to the kitchen to answer it, but Alex gets in his way, saying, "Let it ring. We're having a conversation here." Tom says, "No, if I don't answer it, it'll call the cops." Alex asked, "Isn't that what you want?" Tom says, "No, that's a violation. They'll send me back to the institution. I can't go back there. I can't go back. I can't go back." Alex asks, "Isn't that what we want? What we really want deep down? To go back?"
Which is a weird way of phrasing it.
Yeah, I think that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's on purpose. I was trying to figure this out in the movie where, like, in more obvious points, like with his comment with the pills and things like that, and later comments, it's clear that Alex is trying to, like, trick Tom into thinking that
Well, the thing is,
He's
like,
not
just
real.
imagining what he's seeing.
But, also,
But
like, the
there's
thing
comments like this one
Yeah.
that make it seem like Alex is implying that the two of them are actually the same
One.
person, that he's like an alternate personality or whatever. I think, well, no, like in the video, in the conviction, they're like two brothers. I remember, like, I heard this line and I went back to Brody's conversation with him. Like, she said, "Your brother, right?" And she did. But even I was thinking, like, is this a hint that they're like two halves of the same mind
I
or
think
something?
that's the point. Like, they want you to wonder.
Yeah.
And I think, also, like, we find out later, spoiler, big spoiler, if you really don't want spoilers for the movie, why didn't you watch the movie first off? Honestly, that's weird that you don't. But I'm sorry. I will say it a little out of order. I think Alex, literally says later that he wanted him to think he was crazy. So, like, Alex is probably literally saying this to try to throw him off this game.
Yes. Yeah, he says a lot of things to do that. I think there are a few comments like this one that are a little bit different from...
Yeah. But then it
from
also,
others.
like, they're due to other lines Alex says later, spoiler again. I would argue that maybe it even that weird. Because Alex also does refer to them as, like, two men, one brother. Like, he is weird. Like,
well, he says the phrase, "It takes two brothers to make one man."
He then, at the end of the movie, says two men, one brother. Spoiler.
Right.
So he changes it up.
Out of the same thing.
He doesn't even know which one it is.
Paraphrasing it.
He paraphrases himself.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a manipulative sociopath. Almost.
Fair enough. So I'm going to get back to the notes, because I think we're maybe halfway into the notes, and we've been doing this podcast for like an hour and a half at least.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, so I'm going to get back to the movie.
Sorry.
Fair.
Don't get me wrong, we'll get distracted again, and I'll be part of it. But for now, I'm going to get back to the movie. So yeah, he says, what we really want deep down, to go back. Tom says no, and pushes by and answers the phone. When Tom turns around, Alex isn't there anymore. So Tom goes to his room and barricades the door with a dresser. He chugs some NyQuil this time around and goes to sleep, trying to ignore the creaking. He wakes up the next morning and heads downstairs to find his house a mess, with papers strewn about and furniture overturned. Bum, bum. Did Alex do this, or did Tom do it and not remember?
In his NyQuil-fueled rampage.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, NyQuil screws your brain, man. He heads to the kitchen and sees that all the wine bottles are shattered on the floor.
That's just rude.
Yeah. He checks the passage.
Yeah, because we had that shot earlier where one of those bottles of wine was like $13,000 or something.
But who cares? He doesn't drink. So, I mean, like, really, I mean...
He might have started.
No, it's an acquired... It's an
could have sold those wine bottles for $13,000.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Which, as we find out, might have been an important thing. Oh, 13,000, huh? Better throw that on the ground.
I lost my place. Wine bottle shot on the floor. He checks the passageway and finds his stuffed dog, Mr. Larry, with his eyes removed.
Oh.
He says, no, I didn't do this. And he leaves the passageway and sees Mr. Larry's eyes over his father's eyes on the painting.
And it looks really...
Creepy.
I feel like Chris was about to say not something different, because what were you going to describe that as?
I was going to say it looks really silly.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I had a feeling that's what he was going to say. I could tell by the way his tone going into that. Now, fight. Because I have no opinion. I don't really care. So, fight, you two.
Maybe I'm just a major boon. I don't know.
Oh.
I feel like in most of the moments of our disagreement, it's just been like, I scared easier than Chris did.
I don't know. I just saw the eyes and they look so goofy on the picture. I was like, those don't match at all.
Those don't match.
I'll be honest, I think I am slightly more with Chris on it was just a little silly. I'm sorry, Isaiah. I don't care one way or the other. I have no dog in this race. We're a comedy podcast, everyone.
I could definitely see how that would be unsettling.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think the first time I watched the movie, I didn't even notice the dog had not have eyes here or this part. I didn't notice it till later when he removes them and was like, why are those there? Apparently I completely missed this 10 seconds of this part of the movie the first time I watched it. So when I got to that part later, I was like, alright, I guess the dog's eyes are there. That's weird. I missed the setup shot here. Where they establish it. He then hears creaking and heads back to the passageway, and Alex sneaks up behind him, startling him. Rah.
Jump scare.
Yeah. I mean, kind
Nightmare.
of. I would describe this more, less of a jump scare, more like that classic Halloween style scare where you as the audience see it coming slightly before it happens. Which is a compliment, because jump scares, for the most part, suck.
Yeah, I would agree.
Alex says, relax, Tommy. Tom says, you trashed the house. Alex says, well, technically you trashed the house. Mind games. Tom heads to the
Chris
kitchen.
Angel mind freak.
Mind freak. Are you ready? Tom heads to the kitchen and says...
You're welcome, audience, for triggering that in Austin.
I loved Chris Angel Mind Freak.
Oh my God.
Tom heads to the kitchen and says, Why would I trash the house? Alex says, you tell me. The phone rings. And Alex answers.
Yeah, in all these moments, Alex has got this great villain stare where he's far away and all of a sudden he's like, you tell me. You know, the camera gets this close, he's right up in Tom's face.
I don't remember when I noticed it. I didn't write it down, but when it comes to Alex, he really reminded me of Skeet Ulrich's performance in the first Scream.
Which one is that?
Not Matthew Lillard. Not Shaggy.
Not Shaggy. Okay, the other one. All right.
Yeah.
The one who plays crazy more than he plays weird, silly that somehow works.
Yeah. The one who's like...
Yeah, the one who also, like, stares seriously at the camera and is kind of dramatic like this character. Like, the character that's almost the same character? Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know Billy Loomis, who's the same character? Yeah, that one.
Babe, why won't you play harmonica with me while we listen to Don't Fear the Reaper? Babe, come on.
And then, you got Alex going, little brother, why won't you watch me from the corner? It's the same character. Same exact character. All right, so yeah, speaking of Scream, the phone rings. And it's Ghostface. No, wait, no, it's Lynn this time. She asks if he listened to her Grey mix yet. Tom switches off. Oh, sorry, I skipped over a part. Alex answers it, putting it on speakerphone when the phone rings.
Which is classic, like, just brother behavior.
Yeah, honestly.
You see this, like, perfect brother chemistry seeping through their terrible relationship. It's like, oh yeah, they're brothers.
That's fair.
They're not just, like, two murderers. It's like, they have this... I think they do that really well.
I agree. I don't know if I noticed it until you said it, but I do see it now that you say it, and I agree that it is there and it's good.
Yeah, it's also like, I was gonna say that the scare that Alex does on Tom earlier also feels like just like a sibling scare.
Yeah, just sneaking up right behind him and like, hey.
Yeah.
Tom switches off. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Tom switches off speakerphone and tells her he did and it was good and it was eclectic. She says, yeah, I kind of forgot about the last song. Sometimes I set the next mix early and I'm sorry, this one got a little bit pink at the end. So I've been thinking about you. Tom asks, you have? She says, Did my homework too. I found out some pretty interesting stuff. Alex tries to listen in, but Tom pushes him away, so Alex puts the call back on speakerphone. Lynn continues. So I was thinking, I want to come up and talk. Tom switches it back off speakerphone and says, no need. It's been really busy up here. So just stay at the market. The market? Lynn? Does the Red Pepper Market have a pharmacy? Lynn says, yeah? Why? Tom continues. I'm a little low on my meds. Lynn asks, so what the hell do you want me to do? Do you want me to boost drugs? Tom says, well, I mean, yeah.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
And he delivers it so well. Like, once again, I know I already said earlier, but like how everyone does. I love Topher Grace's portrayal. Like, just like the way he delivers such simple lines and such like it's a perfect delivery on all the ways he delivers his lines. Like, makes him like kind of cute and charming. Even at this point on your first watch, where you're going, I think he's a psychopathic murderer. But you're like, he's a cute psychopathic murderer. But yeah. So he tells her, yeah. And Lynn sighs and says, what is it that you need? Tom replies, Lithotol? Lynn? Lynn responds, that's serious antipsychotic poop. Tom says, yeah, how do you know that? Lynn says, look, the pharmacy closes in 2 minutes, so I'm just going to slip in there now and see what I can do. But Tom interrupts with, thank you. She continues, you're going to owe me quite the explanation. Who the hell are you, Tom Walker? And she hangs up.
Tom Walker.
I'm Tom Walker. You know who the hell I am. You just said my name.
Yeah, you just said my first and my last name. I only tell most people my first name. And that was the Tom Walker.
Yeah, and he says, he says, you know who I am. Because he says, like every other line. It works for the character he's doing, but he really does say a lot in his dialogue.
A lot. Yeah.
It is his or like it is the vocal crutch that this character uses in his conversation. Tom goes back to the kitchen, but Alex is not there. He goes looking for him in the passageway, but only finds a jump scare of his mangled dad. Then re-blocks the passageway with the wardrobe. He heads to the pool for a quick skinny dip, as you do when you're worried about your serial killer brother being in your house. That's not fair. He is not a serial killer. He's barely a multiple murderer.
Just a murderer.
Well, he's killed 2 people, so, I mean, that's a multiple murderer. Yeah, because mass murderers, you kill them all at once, right? I think. I don't know, one of the movies told us about it. I don't remember which one it even was. Was it Scream?
I don't think a mass murderer, you have to murder multiple people at once.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. No, I think multiple murderer is more like...
Serial is like one after the other, you know?
Well, like, I think like the difference between multiple murderer and mass murderer is like one huge lump thumb, while a multiple murderer kills people throughout, like a serial killer typically. I think Bride of Chucky explained this to us, but I don't remember the explanation.
I just know that serial means one after the other.
Well, yeah, but that movie did not use serial. They said multiple and mass. The difference between multiple and mass, and I don't remember which one it is. But it doesn't really matter. His brother killed 2 chicks. Let's move on.
That's the
end of the movie. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
When he comes out of the water, he's startled by Lynn standing above him. She tells him he has a pressurized leak in his pool, which she recognizes because her dad is a pool cleaner. He's gonna need a pool cleaner because he doesn't have the retractable... Oh my gosh, this is perfect. It'd be a real shame if this pool, like, by the end of this movie doesn't have any water in it, probably.
No work for the dad.
I know.
That would be a shame.
He asks her, "So, what are you doing here?" She pulls out a pill bottle and says, "Need a fix, remember?" They head up to the trashed living room, and Lynn says, "Nice place, by the way. Is it the maid's year off or something?" Tom chuckles and says, "Well, thank you so much for bringing these over, but if my parole officer catches me with someone inside the house, I'm screwed. I need to make it through the next 30 days. Lynn sees his calendar on day 3 and says, "Wow, you're barely out of the gate." She walks to the kitchen where Tom asks, "Can I just have my pills? Maybe we can talk later on the phone." She sees the drawing of her and asks, "Is this me?" Tom replies, "Yeah, I've actually been drawing you a lot. It's kind of creepy, huh? I wouldn't blame you if you just left the pills and, took off." I like that he has left the pills. He wants to make sure the important part happens. So it's like, you can hate me, meds, but I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
She smiles and says, "I love it." This is where Isaiah thinks the line ends. She then says, "I always wanted a stalker."
She's joking.
But she's joking about something that is still true. That is very creepy behavior.
He's on house arrest.
It's still very creepy behavior to draw someone who you met once.
It's normal. But
it's creepy.
She does not think it's creepy.
She acknowledges that it's stalker behavior. But then she does add...
She's stalking him.
That's true. She's also a stalker. But it's creepier because he's older than her. We'll just bring that back. I'm going to die on that hill I don't even care about anymore.
Real.
She says, "You just always wanted a stalker. I just never knew I was so beautiful." Tom says, "You are." Because he's a little creeper.
Riz.
Is that? I don't know if you could describe his behavior as Riz.
He's got...
this is that point in the podcast where I need to pause to tell...
Awkward schizophrenia.
Yeah, to tell young children who may be watching this podcast and think this is how you get a girl. Randomly meeting someone once, drawing a picture of her, and then being like, "You're the prettiest girl ever," is not going to get you
this. Do not do this. It will not work.
The only way it works is she's just as crazy as you, like we find out she is.
Yeah! Psych ward besties.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. What movie did we have to do that recently where we talked about, like, how... I don't remember. It was recent. It wasn't Mayhem or Creep. I don't know what movie it was. There was some movie recently where we talked about how that's not actually how you get a girl.
Yeah, despite the fact that the movie would like you to believe that it is.
It was Idle Hands.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that's not the point of today's podcast. Once again, we're getting off topic because that's all we do on this episode. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Isaiah's here. We're distracted now.
The thing is, like, once again, we're pausing just to add even more time to this. When he was here for the Christmas episode, it was still the same length as all our other episodes around that time, an hour 40 minutes. He didn't add any time to it. He was there, he shared his opinions as we went, but we didn't get, like, this episode has been chaos.
Yeah. I think it's going pretty well.
I mean, I think it might be our best episode ever, but it's also going to be our longest.
Yippee!
So yeah, after he says she's really pretty, she pulls out the pill bottle and says, it's glycamine. It's pretty much the same thing as lithitol, so it should do the trick. And now I would like to pause and say that I googled glycamine, not a real drug.
Yeah.
And it's also clear, I mean, in the fictional movie, that it doesn't do the same thing because he, like, conks out on this drug, gets woozy. We never see that happen when he takes these pills. He just, like, his head clears up.
I mean, to be fair, that could just be, they could still technically be, like, knowing someone, as someone who's on medications, this could be he's having adverse side effects to this medication that does do the same thing, but the other drug, he doesn't, and it works for him. And also, you could argue that it doesn't. His other drug didn't actually seem to work.
Well,
no.
Question, right? I mean,
no. I mean, spoiler. His dead dad is never actually here, and he sees his dead dad before Brody takes the pills. So those pills weren't working.
Well, it's not that they weren't working. It's that, you know, they don't work forever. He doesn't take one pill and he's good for the rest of his life. Like,
no, but like
right, but he did have access to them and was taking them regularly.
He was taking like a handful earlier that day when he just saw the dog, and then saw the dog eating his dad the like same day. Like that means his pills are not. He needs to talk to his medical professional and get on a different medication. I worry for him, and
I need stronger antipsychotics.
Yeah, like this antipsychotic is honestly just not working for him, and that's okay. That's the beauty of like finding the right medication for you, everyone. This is the point where I get on my little soapbox and say, hey, if the medication you're on isn't working, talk to your health professional and get one that does. Because that's what they're there for, to help you.
Talk to your doctor about glycamine.
Yeah, ask your doctor about glycamine. It's not real. So he'll be like, what are you talking about?
Is that some new kind of sugar?
But yeah, Tom goes to grab it, but she pulls it away and pulls out a piece of paper and says, sorry, you're going to have to explain this to me. It's an article that's headline is, A Body of Murdered Teenage Girl Unearthed. She says, I'd like to hear your side of the story. I just want to help you. Which is, you know, once again, showing why, folks, kids out there, if you killed a guy, or a girl, killed a girl, and this girl's like, I just want to know your side of the story. She's also psycho, so you probably just don't want to get her. Yeah.
Or you do.
I mean, because, like, yes, spoiler, we find out, you know, this he's about to tell us, and it does seem that what he's saying is more true than not. He didn't do anything wrong, but she just found an article that said he murdered someone, and went, but what's your side of the story? Did you really murder the guy? Did you really murder them? What?
You seem kind of nice.
Yeah.
Surely somebody nice.
You bought a lot of cereal and ice cream and then accepted my random CD without even knowing me? So you can't be a murderer because I think you're cute.
That is really mostly what it comes down to.
Homegirl is down
also, she's psychotic.
Yeah, Homegirl is down so bad. She's like, you might not be a serial. You might not be a killer. Let me find out.
Down.
Yeah.
So, Tom looks over and sees Alex in the doorway and says, "Okay, if I tell you, will you just leave?" Lynn replies, "Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want." So Tom tells her, "Okay. When I was 13 years old, I had a real crush on this older girl, Julie DeMarco. And when I asked her out, she totally rejected me in front of the whole school. And when I told my brother Alex about it, he said that we should teach her a lesson. You know, give her a little scare as payback. So we hid under the bridge that was on her way home from the Wendy's that she worked at. And when he jumped out, when he jumped out, he was right. It scared the poop out of her. Then she started yelling at us, calling us immature. Alex didn't like that. He just snapped and started wailing on her. I mean, it was brutal. I told him it was wrong, but I think he must have known that I wasn't going to like it, because he took out this pair of handcuffs and chained me to a metal pipe, and I just had to sit there and watch. And then he drowned her, right in front of me. I remember as the life was, we see Alex looking on, smiling, and mouthing what he says as Tom continues. As the life was going out of her, he looked right up at me and he said, "I'm just doing what you couldn't. Sometimes it takes two men to make one brother." So yeah, it's two men, one brother every time. Because that's what it says at the end, too. Which is still a really weird statement to make. But he doesn't flip-flop. He does remember his own catchphrase.
I thought he said that it was two brother make one man.
Unless he does
Weird.
one other time, because I remember it happening once at the end. He might have said it in the middle as well after this, but before the last time. I don't know.
It is weird. It's a weird way to say it because an only child is no one's brother.
Well, because he doesn't have two men. You need two.
There
men
is no one.
brother.
A family with one brother. There's no brother. It's just the son.
Hey, right.
Like, anyway,
it's not a brother. You need two men. He's actually right. You need two men to make a brother.
That's a good point.
We're calling him a crazy person, but he's actually right. Like you just said, one kid is just a son. For it to be a brother, there needs to be two men, or a man and a woman.
No. Two brothers make two men. Two men make two brothers.
No, it takes two men to make.
You know what? Now I find Chris's argument more convincing. Now I'm with Chris now.
Well, I'm with Alex, and I stand by it because he kind of
one man makes a son.
He reminds me of Billy Loomis, and I think Billy Loomis is cool. Crap, did I leave off? What is this episode?
I don't know.
And then he made me bury the body with him and said, "We were in this together. We were partners for life." I was so messed up after that, so...
I know it's in your head, Chris. I'm like...
What?
I was mouthing "we're all in this together."
High School
It popped my head.
Yeah.
I was reading. I didn't see it. I would have joined in.
Fair.
See, the problem is I didn't get my head in the game.
Oh, that's true.
You got to get your head in the game.
Yeah. Because, if not, I just got to bet on it. Bet on it.
Yeah.
Bet on it.
So anyways.
Because I'm fabulous.
Oh my god. What have I done?
Well, I see. The thing is, Chris, you're just standing there right next to beside me.
Oh, that is true, actually.
It's not really.
Really. Actually, there's an Isaiah who is right there next to beside both of us.
No,
my view is
keeping us apart.
That's actually not true with how the video format works.
Oh.
You are
on Discord. We are.
Yeah, you are to the left side of the screen. Screens confuse me. You are where I am. You're directly across from me. Isaiah is under you.
Where you are, I am, and who I am, you are.
Yes, right now Isaiah, when he was looking up, was looking at you. And yes, when Chris looks down, he's waving at Isaiah right now for our audio listeners. And I can look down and wave at the Horror Boys logo, because that's under me.
Well.
Is
there anything above me?
No, you're at the top of the screen.
Oh God!
You're looking at if they're on
the ether.
If they're on desktop, you're looking at the bar that says what we're at. What's that tab open for? You should close it. That's creepy. All right, back to the podcast.
Somebody could walk in on it.
What is this episode?
I don't know.
We have so much left. So much. The podcast is so
You gotta zip through.
We don't have to stop being us.
Yeah. Isaiah's like, I'm pretty good at that. I don't know. Oh, jeez.
All right, so where did I leave off? So he did it again with another girl on his own, and this time he got caught. You know, it all came out. He looks over and Alex is gone, and he continues. I was convicted for the first murder alongside Alex. No one believed that I just watched. He got life in prison, and I got the institute on an insanity verdict. My mind was ruined. She slides him the pill bottle, and he takes some and finishes. Okay, well, we had a deal, so thank you so much for the pills. Have a great life. Now at the front door, Lynn says, you don't have to be alone. Tom says, okay, well, actually, the court says I do.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Lynn says, I might understand more than you think. I'm also crazy. And he closed the door before she said the last word. As Tom closes the door on her, Tom then hears his dad's voice saying, hello, Tom. You enjoying the house? He walks to his dad's office and sees that it's a video from his dad that Alex is playing. Tom's dad continues. I wish I had the courage to say this to your face, but I never had the courage to say anything to your face. Believe me, I'm not proud of this. I left a lot of things unresolved. Tom asks, what is this? Alex responds, video file recorded 5 days ago, the night he killed himself. Let's just date that exactly so there's no question on when it happened. I could have said the line just when he killed himself, but no. I said 5 days ago to make this movie make not the complete sense. It's just like it takes like a one editor on the script writing team to go this doesn't make sense. Take this one line out, it changes nothing, and it's fixed.
Fair.
Unless it's Texas Chainsaw 3D, that movie is just unsavable.
Yeah.
Do your thing, cuz. In the video, his dad continues, I know you blame yourself for what happened. Tom says, this isn't real. Alex says, it's as real as I am, brother. Bum bum. His dad continues, for your mother leaving and not looking back, the truth is, her leaving had nothing to do with you two boys being locked up. The real problem developed between the two of us. Our relationship worked because I always knew what was best. We had rules. His dad says hi to his Doberman that came into the room. Alex says, just tell us where it is. His dad continues. But with both of you boys gone? Tom asks, or what is? His dad continues. Which I will say, this is another thing I'll just point out real quick, and then I'll get back to this scene. So is Alex just pausing the video every 10 seconds so they can both have a conversation while his dad says nothing? Because they never talk over each other. Which, yes, for the sake of taking notes, I'm glad. But realistically, why is he pausing the video every time Tom has an idea to say? It's one thing if he wants to complain about something, but he goes, pause. What was that, Tom? You want to go to thought? I could feel it in our same brain. So yeah. His dad says, our relationship worked, but when both of you gone, her behavior became unpredictable. She would never talk back like that to me before. I would have done anything to keep her from leaving. What I'm trying to say is, it's not your fault, Tommy. I don't blame you. Tom says, he didn't hate me. His dad continues. I know it was selfish to stop visiting you. Hide you away like you didn't exist. Tom says, it was all in my head. Alex says, no poop, Tommy, what isn't? And then his dad finishes, crying, and says, repeatedly, I'm sorry. Alex says, oh, good. Only Mom hated us. Dad just cared more about his career. I'm glad he cleared that up. I feel a lot better now. Which, you know what? Honestly, fair response. I mean, it really wasn't like a heartwarming moment from Dad.
Deathbed regrets. Yeah.
Only Mom hated. Tom says, you don't know that Mom hated us. Alex says, she left us, didn't she? We were just children and she left us to rot in that jail. What do you imagine was so important that she never came to see us, never wrote, never called, just erased all memory of her children? What do you call that, Tommy? I call that hate. We did a lot of thinking in that cage about Mom and Dad. They move their conversation to the pool, and Alex continues. Each abandoning us in their own way. But we came to one inevitable conclusion, didn't we? I'm the only one you can count on to be there for you.
Yeah, and get you institutionalized.
We're in this together, and it's up to you to take what they denied us. Tom asks, what do you want? What are you looking for here? Alex says, I'm looking for the same thing you are, little brother. A chance at peace, Tommy. Freedom. Hidden amongst Dad's secrets in this house, there's money. And that money is ours. It's my money and I want it now.
Oh, the
8675 cash. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to actually give them an ad. They might still exist. I don't know. I haven't seen an ad for them in like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Tom says, wait, what? Money? Alex says, yeah. Tom says, I don't want money. I don't want any of this. Alex says, I'm here because you needed me, okay? Trust me. You do need me. Tom says, no, I don't need you. I have my pills now, Alex. I don't want you here, okay? The only thing I want to do is serve my next 30 days, and then, for the first time in my entire life, I'm going to be free. Alex slaps Tom back into the pool. Yeah, just good old person who...
Backhand.
What'd you say?
Backhand?
Oh, okay. I thought you said the actual thing. I was going to try to explain without saying. No, you don't say that word. I don't know if that's a bad word. Are we allowed to say that word? I don't know. Susan, who's not even in there anymore, wouldn't like it. I don't want to let her down, even if she's moved on. Yeah, he slaps him back into the water. I'm just gonna repeat it as I look for my spot in the notes.
And then he slaps him back into the water.
And he slaps
him
him
back
into
the water.
But then he slaps him back.
Oh,
into the pool. Alex holds Tom down under the water while mangled corpse dad grabs Tom by the foot, pulling him down. Tom eventually surfaces, and Alex is gone.
And this is one of a lot of moments where they do this little trick. After Alex gives him a good old thwack, we cut to this like kind of profile shot where we just see Tom flying through the air, and Alex is out of the shot with maybe some of the space that he was occupying before.
To try to
did he vanish, or did the camera just move?
Yeah.
The movie does that a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think they do it pretty well. They really make you wonder. Sorry, I got something in my eye. It's a tear for how beautiful this podcast is.
How long it is, yeah.
I'm tired, guys. I want to go to bed.
Please. Gotta go to work at 8 tomorrow.
Well, you shouldn't have talked so much earlier.
Recorded a podcast, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
No.
No. And we are elongating the podcast.
Yes, we are. Tom heads up to the kitchen, and his vision starts to blur as the pills kick in. He hears Brody come in and heads to the office. Brody, looking at the mess and him standing in his dad's office, soaking wet, says, "This is bad. Are you okay?" Tom says, "You know, I've had better days." Another one of those just great line deliveries from my boy. Brody says, "I didn't realize how sick you are. Listen to me. I'm going to go home and get your pills." Holy poop. She leaves. He stumbles to the ground and says, "Thank you, Lynn."
It's almost like you really did make it out of a psych ward.
Wow, yeah.
Crazy.
So he stumbles down to the ground and says... See, now, Chris, I'm trying to stay on track, and I'm getting mad at you for getting us off track.
I'm sorry, it's just...
You should be.
I just really hate Brody.
And that's completely fair. So, but like I said 3 times now, stumbles down to the ground and says, "Thank you, Lynn. Goodbye, Alex, and he passes out. He comes to and changes his clothes and walks around looking for Alex to see if he's gone and was just a hallucination. He checks to see if Alex's bike is by the back door, and it's not. And, he's relieved to be done with all this. It's over. This is all in his head, obviously.
Yippee!
Yeah. He heads to the front door, and it's Lynn. He welcomes her in. Lynn says, I had to come by after work because I felt really bad for what you told me. Tom responds, No. Hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. Excuse me. Lynn says, I'm surprised you're so hospitable all of a sudden because you couldn't have gotten rid of me faster before. Tom says, that was before my meds kicked in. I'm feeling much better now. Lynn says, you were seeing some pretty weird poop, huh? Tom says, yeah, you could say that. Hey, you want something to drink? Lynn replies, yeah, I'll take some of that grape juice straight up. I also just want to, for our audio listeners, which is most of our listeners, I just want to say that every time I say poop, it makes Isaiah smile, and that makes me smile on the inside.
It's true. He has smiled at every time.
But I wanted to bring it up for because our audio listeners, they never know that. But every time I say the word poop, he gives a big old smile. We then cut to them in the living room where they're drinking juice boxes. Lynn says, I'm glad my drug trafficking paid off. Tom says, yeah, it's worse when I'm alone. Back in the Institute, all these people around, I could kind of control it. But here, by myself, I thought maybe the drugs wouldn't be enough, because they weren't. The original drugs were not enough. He needs to talk to his medical professional.
True.
Tom says, I already said that. Lynn says, well, you have 27 more days to go. Tom says, yeah. I think I'll always be haunted, though, because I didn't do anything except watch that day. Lynn says, what could have you done? You were 12. So I guess he was 12, and his mom didn't leave till 3 years after he was in.
Maybe? So he's only 20.
30?
He's only 32.
32. That was 32 when the first kill happened. So he might be 33.
He might be in age, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Doesn't matter.
It's almost like this movie doesn't understand its own timeline because it gives multiple dates and multiple times for things. And for that, I'm going to have to knock at least 4 stars off of it. On my 3-star rating system. This is a negative 1 star right now.
Negative?
Yikes.
Lost my place. Because I was making a joke. I gotta stop being funny. Or at least trying to be funny.
Why don't we just go to opinion?
Because there's still a decent amount of movie left that we have not discussed at all.
Kind of zip through, leaps and bounds.
I'm going to go back to the notes because there's a lot, not a lot, but there's a decent amount of movie that we would just completely skip over if we were to jump to thoughts. You were handcuffed. Tom says, I could have ignored his threats and gone to the police after the first murder. If I did that, that other girl might still be alive. But I've come to see that there's nothing I can do about that. I just have to make the best choices I can from here on out. Len asks, how the hell are you such an optimist? I mean, after all the poop that you've been through. Tom says, I'm not an optimist. I just don't think I have any other choices. I mean, what can I do? Give up? Len says, sometimes, yeah. Yeah, you can be surrounded by people and still feel so alone. I did everything to try to fit in. I was nice to them. I smiled at them. And they just took advantage of that. The boys in our school, they treated me like I was their dog. I think the worst part is that I went along with it. You start to hear that you're worthless so many times, you start to believe them. She shows him scars on her wrists. She says, I know what it's like to take medication and not feel normal. And I know what it's like to not trust yourself with your own life. Poop. What a pair. Then they start to make out.
Woo!
Yeah! Also, why is she... Like, I mean, like, cool that she wants to, like, share her story, too, but, like, no way did it actually transition in a way that made any sense. What?
I mean, you got to use your imagination a little bit.
No, like, from where he was talking about how, like, you know, what am I supposed to do? Give up? And she's like, yeah, you should give up. Sometimes. And then I'm just going to tell you about... I mean, like, come on. She had her own heartbreaking story. But it really didn't... Her transition there of, yeah, no, sometimes you do have to just give up. What?
I don't think that was the point she's making.
Then what is the point? Because he literally says, give up, and Lynn says, sometimes, yeah. I'm not trying to, like, be argumentative, but just literally the line she says is sometimes, yeah, to him asking if he should give up.
It just, the effect of the scene was not pessimistic to me, so...
I didn't take it as pessimistic either. I just thought it was a really
yep.
weird transition for her to want to, you know, trauma dump on him.
And then start making out.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly,
opportunity strikes.
I think what it really comes down to is one of the reasons why this specific, like, bit of dialogue from her feels so out of place to me is so much of this movie is written amazingly. And this part just feels like there was no reason other than they wanted to finally explain why she also says that, you know, she gets what he's going through. And they didn't actually have a transition. Fair. They just went, yeah, no, you should give up.
By the way.
Here's the story about how I actually didn't give up. Because if I gave up, that would be finishing what I did there, which is bad. And obviously the message I'm trying to tell you here. So, like, say that, yes, sometimes you should give up doesn't make sense at all.
That's fair.
But yeah, whatever. You know, it's not that big a deal. If this wasn't already like a 2.5 hour podcast, I'd explain my thoughts maybe a little more, but I'll move on. So they're making out. Lynn stops and says, can you excuse me for a moment? Because I'm like a hot mess right now. I just need to go to the bathroom. Tom says, wait, Lynn, when I get done with my 30 days, would you... She interrupts him. I'd love to.
Ooga, arf, arf. Is what Tom is thinking.
Yeah. She heads off to the bathroom. And after Tom does have his ooga moment, he then notices that the wardrobe has been moved, revealing the secret passageway. He walks over to the painting of his dad and removes the plush dog eyes and says, that's real. And like I said earlier, I did not see the first time when the eyes were revealed. So I just saw, the first time I watched this movie, I just watched him grab these eyes and go, that's real. And I was like, yeah, I guess they're real. I don't get the point, but Tom. I guess that's not you going crazy.
I guess.
Those are right there. I don't know why these random doll eyes are on your dad, but all right. He heads to the pool and opens the control panel and sees that the tongue in a jar is also real, and he smashes the jar on the ground, but the water drains, revealing a secret basement under a hatch. Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum.
Also, it took me in my second watch to realize that was a tongue in a jar. I thought it was a thumb the first time I watched the movie.
A very interesting shaped thumb it would have been.
You know what? I don't need this crap.
Fat thumb.
You know, I guess I did thought that I had seen Topher Grace mutilated instead of his dad. So, you know.
You did think that. So I guess we'll both make mistakes.
Family resemblance.
Yeah.
Because everybody has those days.
And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody gets that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Hannah Montana.
We
have to explain our references because, like I said earlier, most of our audience is over 40. They're not going to get the Hannah Montana references or the High School Musical references. We really should talk about Weezer some more. He heads back upstairs and finds Lynn passed out on the floor with a mark on her head. He starts to question if he did it, but he realizes that she needs help and looks down at his ankle monitor and says, obscenity it. He picks her up and heads towards the door right as Brody comes in and pulls her gun on him and tells him to put Lynn down. Brody asks, "Why the hell did you do this? Is this because
I know
of your
this
brother?
looks bad."
Is this because of your brother?" Tom asks, "What? Wait, what happened to my brother?" Brody says, "He burned in a prison fire." Tom asks, "Is he dead? Do you know for a fact he's dead?" And then Alex runs in the room and stabs Brody in the back, killing her. Alex says, "Well, I guess that settles it. I'm real." Bum bum.
Surprise.
Tom says, "You mean you're... Oh, Alex, what did you do?" Alex responds, "What you couldn't." The phone rings and Alex continues, "Get the phone, Tommy, before it calls the cops. Get the phone now." Tom goes in and answers the phone, but stops at only his first name and blocks the camera and then pulls out the cords at the back. For our audio listeners, Isaiah blocked his camera. It was a pretty funny joke, but you had to be there in the video podcast for it to have landed properly.
Sorry.
But this is like in like sometimes with like you see like subtitles that like will try to like describe a sound effect, and it's like you really didn't do it justice, sound effect people.
Man farts exuberantly.
Yeah, it's like I don't feel like you got the point across. So now the cops will be called to the house. He runs back to Alex, carrying Lynn. He runs back to Alex, who is carrying Lynn. Alex says, "I'm as real as you are, brother." "Well, if I had it my way, I would have convinced you otherwise." Tom asks, "Where did you go?" Alex says, "For a crazy hermit with no friends, you have a very active social life," which is not an answer to his question at all.
But it is certainly true.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I remember thinking eventually in the middle of this movie, like, people keep dropping by this guy's house when he's supposed to be on, like, solitary house arrest.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He pulls out a knife. Tom asks, "What are you going to do with that?" Alex says, "We're going to have some fun." Tom says, "No, you're not." But Alex puts the knife up to his throat. Tom continues, "There's a tunnel. I saw a tunnel next to the pool. It leads to a bunker, like a vault or something." Alex says, "Oh, yeah?" And he handcuffs Lynn to a statue and leaves to check the tunnel. These two shots are kind of intercut, but Alex does not like what he finds down there and starts to head back up. We don't see what he sees, but we see him not happy with it.
You see him, like, revolted.
Yeah. Tom starts trying to free Lynn by, like, using a knife to saw through the wooden statue. He actually gets her free, but right before she's able to run away, Alex comes back in and
Double bonk.
Yeah, knocks Tom on the back of the head, knocks him out. Alex then knocks out Lynn. When Tom comes to, he sees Alex carrying Lynn back in. Tom says, "Why are you still here?" Alex says, "Time to finish this, Tommy." Tom asks, "Was the money in the vault?" Alex says, "There's nothing down there that I want." Tom says, "You saw him. You saw Dad, didn't you? You saw Dad down there. You saw Dad down there, didn't you?" Alex knocks him down with a punch and handcuffs him to the wall. All right.
He repeats the line, right? He's like, "There's nothing down there that I want."
Oh, yeah. And then Tom yells no a bunch. I didn't write down all the times he says it. He just is like really trying to be like, "Hey, don't hurt her," basically.
No.
Yeah, it says exactly like that.
Can you go back and find the number of no's?
Yes, there was exactly 29. Alex tells him, "You do what you do best, little brother. Watch. I need my little peeping Tom, not pop.
My little popping Tim.
My little popping team." Oh, I don't like popping team. We'll stick with peeping Tom.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't like peeping Tom either. Let's just not call him that. And you need me.
Peeping Tim.
Tom repeatedly says no. Alex runs the knife across Lynn's body, but Tom is able to break free off the wall and tackles Alex before Alex can do anything to Lynn. They struggle on the floor for a bit. Alex gets the upper hand and headbutts Tom. Tom tells him, "Go to hell." Alex replies, "You want to see hell, huh? I'll show you hell." Alex drags Tom to the hatch in the pool room. The room with the pool, not like a pool room. They were playing billiards.
Yeah.
And he dumps him in, saying, "I'll show you hell. Have fun down there, little brother." And he locks him in. Tom is in a yellow room with a single chair pointed at a different dark room separated by a
kind of a glass
wall.
terrarium tank kind of thing. Yeah.
On the chair is a key. He sees the head box from the home video. He also sees a framed picture of him and Alex as kids on the wall. Behind the picture is a safe. And then he turns on the light to the dark room to reveal a bedroom? He opens the door and is hit by a horrible smell that's partially caused by the mold in the room from the pressurized pool leak that's covered the floor in water. There's also, probably some other stuff in there that, I don't want to spoil it, but there's probably some poopy pee-pee.
Some other organic material.
Yeah. Like maybe 5 days worth.
You think that she was let out?
More than that.
I feel like she might have just always been just forced to poop and pee-pee down there.
Well, maybe she had a little bathroom out there that she got let out.
I don't know. She's a prisoner without a tongue, spoiler, in this room. You really think her husband cared enough about her to give her regular bathroom breaks?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, whatever's in this room, what could it be? Saved it.
I don't think you did, actually.
What?
But that's fine, because
crap.
We find out that it's his mom.
Not yet. There's multiple things before we get to that. There is some important phone call dialogue that happens before he finds out his mom's there.
They set it up
Yeah.
very well. It is so tense.
Yeah, he goes in there. There's a can of soup on the desk. Wonder if that's related to the giant pantry of soup. Tom finds a phone with a picture of his dad hanging above it. He presses the button, and the phone upstairs rings with the private 1007 number. Alex picks up and says, "He was messed up, wasn't he? More than either of us could ever be. I guess you never really know someone until they're dead and you get to pick over their bones." Tom says, "This isn't real. None of this is real. You're not real, okay? None of this exists. This is all it's all in my head." Alex says, "That's priceless. You spent 20 years wishing your eyes would show you the truth, and when they finally do, all you want to do is retreat back into your head. Ambiguity is bliss, huh, Tommy? Well, let me cure you and your uncertainty once and for all. Our father was sick, and he made us what you are, and he made me what I am. And his blood is poison, and it ruined us both. And now I'm going to prove it with your little girlfriend." We see Alex has a gun to Lynn's head, and Tom says, "No. Look at the phone. Look at my parole phone. Notice anything? That's real. The cops will be here in any minute." Alex says, "Not before I take this out on your girlfriend." Tom says, "Well, I found the money." Alex says, "Bull poop. I don't trust you." Tom says, "You don't have time not to. It's in a safe down here." As Tom's on the phone, we see shots of a chain moving under the water. Pum pum. Tom continues, "Okay, you just let Lynn go, and I promise you there's a safe, and I swear to God, I'll tell you the combination." Alex asks, "What about your new best friend down there? Aren't the two of you getting along?" Tom says, "What?" And he reads the picture frame that's engraved, "Daddy listens." He says 1007, and he drops the phone as a haggard-looking woman walks toward him. He runs out the door and closes her in. Upstairs, Alex tells Lynn to head to the basement. Back downstairs, Tom asks the woman, "Who are you?" Then he sees her wedding ring and realizes it's his mom. Tommy's mother! That's a reference to Scream 2. That was for Isaiah. The audience gets it. "You never left. It's me. It's your Tommy. It's Tommy." She opens her mouth and he sees her missing tongue. And he repeats, "I'm sorry." He opens the door and embraces her. He then leaves her to grab the key from the chair and unlocks the chain from around her neck. They walk out of the room and Alex says, "It's a family reunion." "Hey, Mom." He hugs her and says, "It's okay. It's okay. It's over. And he shoots her in the stomach. She falls to the ground. Tom asks, "What did you do? What did you do?" Alex responds, "The same as always, Tommy. What you wanted to but couldn't. Open the safe." Tom says, "No." Alex points the gun at Lynn and says, "What? Open the safe now." And he shoots the wall. Tom tries to open the safe but can't figure out the code. Alex starts to count down from 5. And at 1, Tom figures out the code is 1007 for his parents' anniversary. Alex goes to grab the money, and Tom uses his handcuffs as brass knuckles. And I'll pause here to say another moment where I wondered if this is happening is when we see his handcuffs, there's no longer the piece that he ripped off the wall that he never would have been able to remove. And I don't know if that... And at first you'd be like, oh, it's a continuity error. But they literally show like a lingering shot of just the handcuffs, which made me go, are they trying to make me wonder why it's not there?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have just fell off.
I think we're just supposed to believe that, like, I mean, he got chained to a towel ring, but not like a prison shackle.
I mean,
and so
sure.
maybe we're meant to believe that it just, like, broke apart.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
In the ruckus. I don't know. Maybe it is a continuity thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
could be a continuity error. Could be just it was supposed to break. It could be that it was supposed to make you wonder. Or
that's what I meant to say. Yeah. Maybe it is purposeful.
Yeah. I don't know. I just noticed. I noticed it both times I watched it. Like, wait, where's the towel ring? Because there is like a specific shot that like lingers on his handcuff. It might just be to be like, hey, look, he's about to use these handcuffs. But
right. I mean,
it also felt
probably that.
Yeah, probably. But there was like a specific shot that like lingered in a way where I was like, are they sending me messages? I think I'm getting them.
Wow.
But Alex is able to knock Tom to the ground. Lynn hits him in the back with a chair, causing him to shoot a pipe above them. The room starts to flood. The pressure rises on the pool gauge, and the pipe bursts in the glass room, filling it very fast. The boys are too busy fighting to notice, but Lynn does and moves towards the ladder. The glass breaks, flooding the room. Lynn's able to help Tom up the ladder, but Alex tries to stop him by grabbing his foot, saying, "We're still in this together. 2 men, 1 brother." Tom kicks him off, saying, "That's 1 too many for me." Alex rips off the ankle monitor as he falls into the water. Mom is still alive and puts the collar around Alex's neck, trapping him in the water with her. She kind of like hugs them as the room completely fills, killing both of them as Prisoner of Love plays once again. Tom and Lynn walk out of the house hand in hand as the police show up with one cop asking, "You Thomas Walker? Is this your house?" He replies, "It is now."
It is now.
We get another title card and credits.
Yeah!
But before we finish, I do have to tell you that the cop is played by Jorge Luis Palo of Insidious 2, alongside Horror Boy alums Danielle Pisuti of Curse of Chucky, Jenna Ortega of Scream 2022, and, spoiler alert, Scream 6 next week. So if you're watching this out of order, she's also in that.
Whoa.
And Lynn Shay of Nightmare on Elm Street and Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Who was he in Insidious 2? What character? Do you know?
I mean, he's, I don't know, the cop? I don't know who he is in this one. I haven't seen Insidious 2, so I have no idea who this random cop in this movie is in Insidious 2.
Can't remember.
I just saw it was on his list. And I was like, oh, that's got Lynn Shay in it at least. Who else does it have? Oh, my, it also has the chick from Curse of Chucky. Oh, and Jenna Ortega? Whoa, crazy. That's 3 Horror Boy alums. I should mention that.
Wait, Jenna Ortega's in Insidious 2?
She's in Insidious 2, apparently.
I do not recall that.
Well, she would have, this Insidious 2 was what, like 2008? And she's like 19.
Oh, she would have been like a kid.
She was like probably like 6. But yeah, so now it's time for thoughts. And I'm going to start off my thoughts with not a thought, but kind of. I'll explain. The first time I watched this movie, they got me in the sense of I was like very much like, is any of this real? Even at the end, I was still like, I don't know if this is real, especially because I saw that one shot of like the handcuffs. And there's also like specifically the way they framed this thing is they walk out together, but then she walks off. So he's just talking to him when he says, yes, it's my house. And I went, wait, are we not going to know if it's real? I will say, after a second watch through, I don't think there is a way to interpret this movie genuinely if it's not real. Like, so much of the other stuff, like, leads to it when you're watching it a second time, noticing things. Like, it definitely did happen. But the movie does a really good job of making you go, wait, did any of that happen? Is he just crazy? Even, like, on my first watch, I was like, is he just crazy?
It's a rare psychological thriller where they go, all this could be in his head, and then, like, bait and switch you, and you're like, no, this is actually just a murder crime mystery.
Yeah. But, like, on the first watch, I still went, wait, is it in his head? Which, props to them, because they really, like, they got me, like, where I was like, wait, they're walking out, like, are they walking? But then, and then she, like, the shot feels on purpose. Like, she walks off to the side, and then it's just him as the cop is talking to him. And it makes me go, like, where'd she go?
It's medical attention.
Most probably, likely. Chris. Yes, probably. That's the actual answer. And after watching it again, I definitely think there's enough that makes me go. But then there's also like the moments in that like final scene where even he's saying things like, "Did I hit her? How did I hit her? I don't remember hitting her." And you go like, "Oh, did he hit her?"
Right? Yeah.
And like you're having, yes, she's a horrible monster, but like Brody's reaction seems like, what the crap did you just do? Which, yes, because she doesn't know, but like it's all of it together. And then there's the handcuff, not having the thing that I felt like there was a shot trying to draw my attention to it. I went, wait, did none of this happen? Did he just put a handcuff on himself and like he did all of this and none of like this happened? Is he just a psychopath? I don't think he is. My final consensus is he's not. But I do really like this movie. That is my final thoughts on it. It's really fun. Yeah. I think it's really well written, except for that one kind of clunky way to get to her backstory. I mean, genuinely, that's like one of my few, and like, yes, timeline complaints. But those are very minuscule and more of just a nitpick for the sake of the fact that we do a podcast. Those don't actually ruin the experience of a movie unless they're, egregious like Texas Chainsaw 3D. A burn. I did it again. But yeah, I think the acting from everyone is amazing, especially Alex and Tom, Topher Grace and Mr. Mulvey. I forgot his first name. But yeah, both of those guys did an amazing job, but everyone else also did a good job. This movie's really good. So yeah. One last thing. Because, I can't ever choose myself, because that's not fair. Of course I like my movie. I will say Isaiah won Bois Choice for me this year. I'm sorry, Chris. I was a fan of this over Creep. That's it. That's it. That's my thoughts. Chris, go.
I didn't realize we picked winners for Bois Choice.
Neither did I.
I think I jokingly did it the first season, and I gave it to myself.
Wait. Okay.
That tracks.
Yeah, I think I might have gave it to myself. I know I definitely didn't give it to Isaiah that season, because of the two of you, I would have given it to Hereditary. I was not a huge fan of The Lighthouse. So, but I don't remember if we did decide favorites.
I will not be picking a favorite, but I will say that I did very much enjoy this movie.
No, I want a favorite. I've established that as a rule. You can't pick your own, because that's, of course, you like your own. Do you like Mayhem or Delirium more? Which movie is your favorite that we covered in the last week?
Delirium.
You know what, Chris? You're off the podcast. You made the wrong choice.
No, Mayhem was fun.
Yeah.
And a good movie, but I think this was a better movie overall. Like the writing, and everything that they tried to do in this movie, I think was executed pretty darn well, and had me as a viewer, pretty strung along for the entire ride, right up until the end. Although I will say, yeah, watching this a second time, I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this stuff. And so it's a little bit less impactful the second watch, but it is. I mean, it's still a really solid movie all around, and like the chemistry between all of the characters is just very real. Which it doesn't happen a lot in movie writing sometimes, sadly. It's like, yes, this is not an interaction anyone would ever have. But yeah, but between Tom and what's her name in the movie?
Lynn.
Yeah, between Tom and Lynn, it's like, this feels like a real two awkward people flirting, and it's very cute, and I enjoy it. And then I find out it's two psychopath people, and it's still cute. But yeah, the tension is built really well, and the psychological aspect of it is held all the way right up until the plot twist, and it's cool. And I thought it was a pretty good take on a psychological horror.
Yeah, I agree for all the reasons y'all mentioned. So I won't repeat those. Tom and Lynn feel very natural. Tom and Alex feel very natural. And I guess what struck me the second time around was that, like Chris said, you're not immersed in the fantasy of like figuring things out with Tom because you already know what's going to happen. And so I guess that directed my attention more to like cosmetic stuff. And I realized that a lot of little details about the movie are not so good, like VHS effects. I think the sounds, the effects, like the whole, like just the track is kind of cheesy. Like we've got to have this weird metallic sting every time he turns around to see like if there's going to be the specter of his dad there. I thought that's from like every scary movie, but it didn't detract from like all these little things didn't detract from it at all because the writing unfolded so well and the tension was so effective. And even though there were jump scares, they made me jump. And the movie relied more on these moments of real disgust and like true horror. Like with the fan movie with the mom with the box in her head, and then watching that chain move through that murky water. When I saw that for the first time, I was like, oh no. Those scary movements are just really effective. So I like everyone likes very centered, intentional horror that doesn't like pass by in a blink. And this movie was very good at that, I think.
Fair enough. There's our thoughts, everyone. We did it. We got through our just over 2.5 hour podcast, if I'm doing my math right. And now we're not done. I still have to do like the outros and stuff, next week. What are we doing next week? Well, Isaiah won't be here because he hates us.
It's true.
I mean, we'll probably try to get him back at least one more time this summer. We haven't discussed that yet. We'll figure it out. Try to get him back at least one more time this summer. We'll see if it can happen. See if the schedules align. If there's a movie that we're covering that he wants to see. Or cover. Not see. You know what I mean. But yeah, thank you, Isaiah, for being here. Thank you for being part of Bois Choice. You will always be a horror boy, even if, I'm not willing to ever accept it, but if you decide to never truly come back, I mean, I don't accept it, but you will always be. When you graduate, I'm going to hound you weekly to be back on. So if you don't want me to annoy you, you're going to have to just agree to come back on then.
Effective.
But yeah, next week, no Isaiah, I know. F in the chat. Right. Oh, we don't have a chat? Fair enough.
This is a podcast.
Yeah, this is a podcast. Just say F in your car.
F in the comments.
Next week, we're finishing up a franchise that, currently, we're adding. There's a movie that has been added to a franchise that we have covered already since we covered it. So we're going to cover it next week. Next week, we're talking about Scream 6. I already teased it with how Jen Ortega is about to be a 2-time Horror Boy alum. But yeah, next week, Scream 6. It was a fun movie. You already basically know our thoughts, because me and Chris did mention them, but, you get to see our full thoughts and, hear what happened in the movie, and I'm somewhat dreading it, even though I like the movie, because it's the longest movie in the Scream franchise, which all the movies in that franchise are almost 2 hours.
Spoilers. This one is, at least.
2 hours and 2 minutes. It's the longest. Which is, to be fair, it's only 2 hours, 2 minutes compared to, Hereditary, which was almost 2.5 hours. Chris.
Or our podcast, which is almost 3 hours.
Oh, and speaking of that, I'm going to say, if you like this podcast, 5-star review on any podcast app. If you want to see our pretty little faces, especially this episode, I feel like there were a lot of facial reactions and moments that will not fully translate to the audio podcast. There are sometimes where I call attraction to them. A lot of
visual gags.
But there are a lot of visual gags on this podcast that this specific one, you might need to go out of your way to watch it on the video podcast. And then you'll fall in love with it and just keep watching the video podcast. Yeah, that's on youtube.com/@horrorboys. If you want to support us directly, that'd be cool, because, renting movies isn't cheap. I mean, it's not expensive, but it's not cheap to have to, pay for this podcast out of pocket. It'd be cool.
This doesn't happen for free.
Yeah, it would
despite
be cool.
what you might believe.
Yeah, it would be cool if this podcast even at least supported itself. I mean, it'd be really cool if we made money off this podcast, but it'd be at least cool if we could not go into the negative to make this podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/horrorboys, where you can get this podcast early, as well as other content that we don't currently make, but will for you. I have been Austin. I have been joined by Chris and Isaiah. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.